Hello, guys and girls, and welcome to episode 163 of the F.Reality Podcast. Grab your popcorn and gather round as we discuss this week's top VR news. We're going to be talking about how the Oculus Elite straps are breaking. Beat Saber's multiplayer has been delayed on PSVR. We give you our scariest VR games for Halloween. We talk about a brand new interesting VR headset called the Deca Gear 1. And to round up the show, Zim has got some new releases for you to look forward to next week. But for now, let me introduce you to the team and find out what's been the highlight of the week this week. And also, let us know what you've been playing in the chat so we can read out some of your highlights too. First up, this guy loves nothing more than to share his wacky VR adventures on stream. He just loves it when he's live. It's, of course, ZimTalk5. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good. Fantastic week for me. Been a fantastic month for me. I've just, when VR gets into that hype train and you just chug it along, I love that. That energy is fantastic. Every single night I'm doing a show at the moment. So aside from a little bit of burnout now and then, oh my God, that energy is it's amazing. It's like, I feel like I'm hitting the vein, right on the vein, and it's just a great buzz.
Killing it. You've been killing it. You've been doing really well.
I've been having so much fun. That's the main thing. And just trying a bunch of random shit, like blue tacking a camera to my head and throwing on mountaineering gear, all kinds of just random things. And they just seem to work very well, and the audience is liking it. My highlight for the week is maybe bizarrely something that's been around for a while that I only came across. And from afar, I was like, this is kind of boring. I'll get to that someday. And I want to tell everyone about it. So I finally got along to playing an app from SideQuest that we loaded called Puzzling Places, which, if you have seen it, it's basically the mixture of photogrammetry, so scenes that are fully point map detailed, and a puzzle. Like if you've ever done a puzzle, 1,000-piece puzzle, and you imagine breaking apart a piece of photogrammetry into puzzle pieces and then stitching them all together, that's Puzzling Places. It's currently like a pre-release version, almost like a demo that you can download, and there's one area, I suppose. If you're a SideQuest Patreon, you get access to additional puzzles. Apparently they're patching with additional content, so they'll bring that number up to like 22 puzzles in the public domain this week. And actually next month, they're bringing out a package that kind of brings all this together that you can get for a price. So that I'm really looking forward to now. It made me honestly giddy, like childhood giddy, like lose you down the rabbit hole giddy playing this. Like the puzzle aspect wasn't really it. Some of you saw me lose my mind in Gadgeteer, which was like 7 streams in a row. I almost never do that, but it stole my life for a week. And this was like immediately that same vibe of like, oh my God, there's just something super satisfying about piecing together something that's real. And as you form it, and the fact that you can this was a church, right? And the main area in the church, the dome and all this kind of stuff, you can then, with VR, you can duck down, put your eye into it, and see everything in that high fidelity, that's been scanned in photogrammetry, and it's just infectious. So absolutely, Puzzling Places is my number one shout of the week. That's a fantastic app. Have any of you guys played that? Have you had a chance?
No, but I know it's available for free on SideQuest, right? Free
on SideQuest for the moment. Yeah. I'm sure they're gonna. It'll be a paid package or something on Itch or somewhere that they're going to do. And then one other just small side shout, because I mentioned my heartache last week about not being able to play games with my daughter and this kind of conundrum I had with my Quest. Well, there's a guy who's a fan of the show, actually, a guy called Alex who runs VR Cauldron, who did a video and found this amazing tip that I want people to know about, which is that you can actually, for a selection of games, I think it's about 20 at the moment from what I've seen on a Reddit list, with the same account. So you can be VR Oasis on Quest 1, and you can be VR Oasis on Quest 2. With the same account, you can play certain games. Things like Arizona Sunshine, Blast On, and Walkabout Mini Golf even supports 5 people. 5 quests with the same account using 1 copy of the game to play multiplayer.
Wow, that's interesting to know.
It's amazing.
That's really cool.
And I tried it, and I had my kids playing on my one account, and I'm like, holy shit, this is fantastic. It totally changed my life. I was getting really gray clouds over my head over this whole Oculus account thing. Developers, if you enable that feature, I promise you I am going to throw gold your way, because that is a really smart thing, and it opens up our families to be able to play your game. So please do more of that. Yeah.
Nice. So basically, because we all thought that playing multiplayer games would require a separate account on separate quests, right? That was kind of like the idea. But there is a certain list of games that are compatible with just a single account.
Yeah.
Really interesting. I wonder if we can drop that list in the chat or in the comments after the fact of this video somehow.
Yeah. There's a Reddit link. It's a Reddit post that keeps getting updated. It's like a table. Some games definitely don't, and there's some games where I've like connected to, and it'll say, "Oh, your account's not online." If you try with a second quest, but for the ones that do, it either shows up as like a guest account or something like that, and you just appear and it works. Like Blast On worked straight out the gates, and it's like this is exactly what I want for a game like Blast On.
And that kind of circumvents the kind of comment you made last time about that you don't have access to, for example, a Facebook account if you're under 13, but you still want to play these kind of games, right?
Yeah.
Then you can still do that.
Yeah, because again, like you said, it's kind of like, daddy's opening the door and saying, hey, I want to allow my kid to play with my device. It's still my account, and their behavior on that system is accountable to me. But if I get to play essentially LAN games with them, that's a fantastic way to do it. And it seems like, I don't know, I've never heard of this before, and I didn't know developers even supported it, but it seems like developers are behind it, but maybe a little hush-hush because it might knock their sales a little bit.
Yeah, true.
Nice. Well, we'll try and share that link in the comments after the fact once this video goes live. But yeah, that's a nice little tip there. Thanks for sharing that, Zim, and thanks to VR Cauldron for coming up with the list originally as well.
Exactly.
So next up, this guy is the latest recruit to a fierce team of Ghostbusters. If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who are you going to call? Rowdy VR, of course. How you doing, dude? You all right?
Of course. I mean, you can call me. I just don't know if I would actually show up, but we'll find that out tomorrow, I guess.
Washing his hair.
No, I'm doing great. I've had a fantastic week as well. Like I mentioned last week, I've been experimenting with using virtual desktop, and I have to say, like what I did this week basically was I threw away my entire installation of Windows, and I refreshed everything and I put everything on there, and it's been working actually very nicely now. I still had like a couple of crashes into like certain titles, like for example Onward or the Oculus home screen, but that was only in the loading screen that I have it. When I'm actually in the game and I pause the loading screen, I have actually zero problems at all. And I've been playing a ton of virtual reality games that I've been missing out the last couple of months. I've played, of course, like Population 1 this week, a very fun game. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it a bit later as well. But I've played Star Wars Squadrons as well. Again, surprised at like how gorgeous this game looks on a wireless connection using virtual desktop. I think it's really amazing. It really blew my mind. I haven't played it that much. I just went into the hangar and I flew the ship around a little bit just to see if it would work, and it's brilliant. And I have to applaud you, Guy, from a virtual desktop for doing something that I haven't been able to do with the Oculus Link cable on my laptop at all, because again, like I mentioned, I have a dual graphics card in there, and for some reason Oculus doesn't really play well together with that, and I can't turn off the other graphics card in my BIOS, so I'm kind of limited at trying to find other solutions. A virtual desktop does it really well with selecting the right GPU, and it just works brilliantly. It just works.
Yeah,
and I've managed to sell 3 headsets this week as well to friends, because I was so ecstatic about virtual desktop and using the Oculus Quest 2. I've been talking to other people, and some of my friends, they were like, oh yeah, but VR, there's not a lot of good games on there, and it's expensive, and I don't have a good PC. And of the 3 of them, I bought one. 2 of them didn't have a proper gaming PC, and the other one had a gaming PC, and he was like, I have this awesome gaming PC, but the games I don't want to do this and that. And I said, but you can have both. And he was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, you can buy the Oculus Quest, and then you can use virtual desktop or use a link cable, and you have access to the entire Quest 2 store, and you'll have access to all of the games on PC. And his mind was just like, he couldn't comprehend it at the beginning. He was like, no, but how does that work then? So how much do I need to pay them for the headset? Because I've seen those PC headsets, and he was talking about the Valve Index, of course, because it was the best headset out there. And he just couldn't believe the price. So he went out and bought one straight away.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's funny, actually, talking about people buying headsets. like last week, my highlight was I bought a headset for my brother and I gave it to him. Like since then, my dad has actually gone out and bought a Quest 2 as well, and he's like not even a gamer. And it's like getting people involved now that would probably never even considered VR before. And we had some great times. We played Half and Half, which is a great game, free as well, and some Beat Saber multiplayer, the three of us. And it's just those, getting these people on board that wouldn't necessarily even consider VR or weren't gamers before is just awesome.
Yeah. Although I do have the impression that like Oculus should maybe invest some more time and resources in getting the message out there that you can do this kind of stuff with virtual reality, since a lot of people still see VR as like something too expensive, or it's like those mobile headsets, they don't do anything well, or like I don't have the high-end PC in order to play these kind of games, and like all those cables, and like there's a lot of problems that have been solved throughout the past couple of years, especially with the latest iteration. And I don't really have the feeling that like the general public who is not that informed into this world really doesn't know about this.
If you look at their marketing campaign, like multiplayer doesn't really seem to be even jumping out of that at all. It's usually the one person who buys it and plays games, but it's not like they're showing this kind of. But that's also because they don't have a party system where someone says like, hey, call me, let's play a game now, you want to jump into VR? It's something that first of all doesn't exist in the system, but that's something they should invest time in and then also market it, because I think like, as you said, like if your dad would be like, oh, I only have to do things by myself and that's all, then it's not that interesting. But if you're like, hey, I can join you and do this, that makes it so much more fun.
But I also think that like the whole wireless streaming situation, they're not interested in sharing that or promoting that in any way, shape or form. Like they actively didn't send Guy a headset purposely to try and stump him a little bit with his development for Quest 2, which is clear. And now, as well, sort of nerfing the 90 hertz at launch, which again sort of takes a bit of wind out of his sails. It's just, they don't want him to be around doing virtual desktop. They want you to buy the link cable, or they're working on a wireless solution that they're going to push themselves, and they're going to advertise it like they came up with the idea themselves. But I'm sure they will.
I think there is a real point here that Rowdy's making. I would agree with that. Like they tend to be taken, like, since 3 years ago, they've been kind of copying Apple's marketing strategy. But Apple are kind of a premium product, premium brand, and they are giving that kind of flavor to their products. I haven't seen the price of the new device pushed very much in their marketing, and I think they could do that because it's remarkably cheap for what you get. And I think most people don't understand it. And right now, how are you going to tell someone who doesn't know? They can't walk into a Best Buy and try it.
No.
So
but they can look at it.
It's a hard situation.
It is, absolutely. It is.
Oh, by the way, Mike, does your dad by any chance like fishing? Because I got the ideal candidate for him to like team up.
So he hasn't tried it yet. I want to get him real VR fishing because it would be a good one to play multiplayer. But yeah, your dad and my dad hooking up playing fishing together, that would be like a great video
my
to
dad
watch.
Can be your dad
I won't be
fishing.
able to use my headset for a week then. Like,
You have to send it over to him.
Speaking of that, Mike, I'm peeking over your shoulder. You have 2 quests now, hey? 2 Quest 2s.
Yeah.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, I have two. I did order myself another one as a backup, and I had this one in the box that keep original, but then I was going to talk about these little mounts later, and I didn't want to mess with my other headset, so I just put it on the other one just for the sake of this video.
Bling, bling.
So yeah, I've got one as a backup. That's my backup.
Nice. Smart.
So yeah,
Smart.
yeah. So yeah, that's a good recommendation there, Rowdy. Anyone that's interested in PC VR and have a Quest 2 or an original Quest, definitely check out Virtual Desktop. It's awesome.
It's the best solution out there.
Absolutely. So next up, this guy's got the smooth moves to light up any virtual dance floor. It's our blonde brother, of course. It's Nathy. How you doing? You all right? You got your dancing shoes on?
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, just socks.
Oh, just socks. You took them off.
But I can dance.
They're worn out.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So yeah, this week today I have been playing Amnesia Rebirth, the new one. And yes, this is a pancake game, I know. Although I saw PD playing it with Farback, so if you really feel adventurous, then you can do that.
You training yourself up, Nathy, then, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you would think so.
Don't use up all of your brown pants,
well,
no? I
I was constantly, when I was playing, I was like, I'm so happy this is not in VR. I'm so happy this is not a VR game, because it was already scary on a monitor. But I have to say, it's an amazing game. And it gave me a lot of like BioShock vibes because it all starts with a plane, just like in BioShock. So I was like, oh hey. And something that I wanted to just say about this title, like we are talking about sidekicks, right? Where we're like, wow, this is an awesome sidekick. And well, in this game, you also have a sidekick. And the sidekick is, what do you think your sidekick is?
A pig?
A butterfly.
Pig?
Butterfly.
Butterfly? Rowdy, any ideas?
My sidekick or your sidekick?
No, like a sidekick in Amnesia. What do you think the sidekick is?
Ah, okay. Something good, right? An owl.
No. It's you're pregnant and you can talk
God.
with your baby.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
And your baby sometimes also wants your attention. So then you feel with your hands and you talk to your baby.
That's messed up.
And,
That is all kind of messed up.
Babies
Yeah,
are
and
terrible.
And the more you play, the faster your pregnancy goes as well. So
Well, that's realistic.
Yeah, and so it will get harder to climb stairs and stuff. I know this is still Amnesia we're talking about, but I thought it was an interesting mechanic where you have a sidekick that is in your little tummy.
I love how Nate described it as like your pregnancy will go faster.
Yeah, it will go faster. It will go faster.
Wow.
But it's a crazy game, and something that when I play these like AAA titles on just PC, it's always like the story that is just so well written that I just miss in so many VR titles where sometimes you think something is obvious and you work towards a certain goal, but then in the end they completely throw that out the window and something else happens. Well, in VR, most of the time, it's obvious what's going to happen, and they also give you what you want. Well, in this game, they constantly troll you. You work like hours upon hours to collect something, and then they're like, "Oh, you know what? Here's the middle finger. We're just gonna go somewhere else with the story now." And that's what I love so much about the let's say the mainstream gaming scene, where that's quite standard nowadays. Have a lot of money to have a writer work on this for like years. And
I know what Half-Life Alyx did as well, right?
Yeah. True. But it's not as like most
prominent.
Yeah, true.
Is it like the first Amnesia, Nathan, in that you don't have any like weapons? You're basically naked the whole time. Yeah.
You have no weapons. So sometimes you just get chased, and you're like, oh my God, like what do I have to do? And then hide. Like the sounds and everything have been very well done. The level design is beautiful, and as I said, the story is like insane. And I've been playing it today, and you just feel when it's getting good, where you're like totally in there. I'm not playing it in VR, but I'm completely immersed, and I'm like I like to talk to myself while I'm playing the game and wonder about things, because Amnesia is a puzzle game, right? It's a horror game, but it's mainly a puzzle game where you can constantly grab stuff, inspect it, look at what stuff means. And there are so many things that I just want VR to have as well, where the environment, usually when we have games where you can pick everything up, nothing really means anything. It's just some Unity crap that you just throw in there, like some junk that you downloaded. But here, like if you really pay attention and you grab certain junk and it says something on it, it links to the story. So it's all like, you know what I mean?
It's all interconnected.
A horror game like this, I don't know if that would work in VR. I think it's too scary to be a VR title. I do think where you hold a light, because you have little sticks, matches, that just burn out after like 10 seconds. You always have to stay in the light, because otherwise you go insane. But I would love to have a game where you, just like in the game that Zim always plays.
Dread Halls,
where you have this light and you have to use it, and you constantly have to find fuel and stuff.
Oh dear God!
I think that's amazing. So great game.
Buy a
Totally
decent
recommend.
Flashlight before you go into the dark house. That's what I say. Like.
And what is it called again, just for people that missed it the first time?
It's called Amnesia Rebirth.
Rebirth. There you go. Wow. Go check it out.
Appropriate name.
Yeah, I was going to say that name is on point.
If you're brave enough. So before we get into what I played this week, then let's see what the chat have been up to. See if they've been playing any scary games, warming themselves up for the Halloween season.
Yeah, so let me see. I have a few here. I have Watu UK, who has been playing Squadrons as well. I don't know if Rowdy has encountered him in game as like Admiral Akbar or something, but
Let me guess. Rowdy's been playing single player.
Of course. Like I also don't think that it would be a fair advantage if you use like a virtual desktop and you have some kind of latency using that in a competitive scene.
It's okay, actually. It's okay. I think Mike and I have both played with it. It's actually good. Quest 2 with virtual desktop and Squadrons works fine.
Yep.
I honestly haven't heard that much about Squadrons after its release. I think a lot of people are still playing it in VR, but I don't, you know what I mean? With like No Man's Sky or others, you constantly hear stuff about it. In this one, it's like, I don't really, are people still playing it? I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know that Viper is still playing it a lot as well. So
it is of course like a niche within a niche. I mean, you need to like to fly ships and.
It's tough for me because I really, really want to play more Squadrons. Like I want to do the full campaign. I want to go play the game, but I kind of feel like Quest 2 is eating me completely right now, and I'm going to get to do that at Christmas. And by that point, everyone else is going to be fantastic, and I'm going to be shot out of the sky in no time.
Yeah, I totally feel you. Like, I want to go back and play it, but I just don't have time right now.
So anyone else wants to get with me at Christmas, right, and just hang out and play as noobs, then yeah,
I'll be there with you.
Cool, Mike.
Well, you can't visit family anyway, so you have an excuse to play more Squadrons. You also played GTA 5. I don't know if you played it in VR. I'd have to say, GTA in VR is amazing.
So good.
I know what Rowdy would do. He would just drive over people, and that's all.
Yeah.
And he's having an amazing time.
Beach.
Yeah, exactly.
I visit all the fun shops, the ones with the long poles.
Oh, yeah.
Those are
Oh,
fun.
the one with the long poles. Didn't we do that this week as well, Sim?
We did, and then I think I shot you in the balls, but
yeah, then
another
you
time.
shot me in the balls after that.
Twice.
Yeah, he has a VIP pass at the Unicorn Club.
You took me an hour and a half to find the place. All right. Practically
then we
real
have
world frustration.
Factory Life, who played Population 1, Standout, and Wardust per usual. Virtual has been playing Puzzling Places as well. A Chair in a Room, Greenwater. That's a classic.
That's
man.
a classic.
Old. That's very old. I don't know if you would still like to play that right now.
2015, 2016, but wasn't it re-released on Steam or something last year? I think we covered it in releases.
Remastered?
Yeah, but it still doesn't look great.
It originally came out for mobile, right? The Chair in a Room was a mobile app.
I don't remember.
Since that was where I played it on my Homido VR headset for the first time.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Oh my
Fancy,
god.
man. He also played Cubism and Pagan Peak VR. And last but not least, Let's Play VR has been jumping into 11 table tennis with his brother on another quest.
By the way, 11 is another one of those titles you can play on one account. So
Very nice.
amazing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very nice. So yeah, my highlight this week is definitely playing Population 1.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually addicted to that game now. I
noticed.
I jumped in with Gamertag for his live stream because he was looking for a player and I wanted to play anyway. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll jump in. And we were kind of rotating with players from his audience, which was really, really fun. There was one that was like a miniature version of Nathie. He was from the Netherlands. He was hilarious. Slobviz, shout out to you. And then we were joined by the Lonely Viper, and we were just absolutely smashing it.
That
we were
guy
just
has been
cleaning
killing
house.
it in the game as well.
Wow.
I saw yesterday he has already this past week 160 kills or something.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, he's legit. He is legit, really good at it. So we were playing the three of us, and then last night Viper was like, "Oh, do you want to hop in?" I was like, "Oh, I was gonna go to bed," but then ended up jumping in with Viper and a friend of his, Soulman, and we ended up playing for another 2 or 3 hours. But we were just getting win after win after win, and it was becoming so addictive, and so rewarding to get all these wins and leveling up that we just couldn't stop. And I just think, I don't know what they've done. And Viper was saying about this when we were playing. He was he was convinced that Big Box VR have hired a team of psychologists to work out what are the addictive things that are going to trigger in your brain when you play this game.
Do you think they have microtransactions?
Well, exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they've really hit the nail on the head with it. It is very easy. Some of the mechanics have been oversimplified. The reloading is oversimplified compared to Onward. Firing grenades is super easy. You just fire it like a grenade launcher. You could, there's no penalty for not holding a weapon two-handed. They say there is some recoil. There is, but not much.
There is the thing is, you have a reticle, right? You have a reticle that you see in the distance. If you hold it with two hands, that reticle becomes smaller, which is a little bit funny to have that in VR, because normally you would aim
Sounds like Call of Duty in that sense, where
no
you
real
also have to
penalty.
aim with
no, not really.
But yeah, I think overall, it's just really, really fun, and they've just got the core gameplay mechanics down, and I just really hope that they improve upon what they've already established right now.
I'm exactly in the same boat. Since
Yeah.
I had now the first chance as well to play it. I played it together with Zim, and we had a ton of fun. It's a very fun game, but I just think that there's a lot of room for improvement still, especially in terms of VR mechanics, in terms of using the things that VR can do very well. Use that a bit more. Things that kind of frustrated me were, like, for example, when you have the can or the banana, I wanted to use my 2 fingers in order to try and open it up, but it doesn't work like that. You just need to use your full hand in order to just rip it open. I mean, none of those things will make the game less fun, but I would think it would be more virtual or more immersive if it was a little bit more than that.
They can smooth it, but we had a blast, and I have
it's a good game, it's a fun game, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement.
The thing that really resonates for me, and I've been chewing on games like Solaris, and I would say that my position on Pop 1 has switched. I was kind of net negative on it initially, being a Battle Royale fan. Now I'm net positive, and I think the main reason is, this is a really important factor in VR multiplayer games. How easy is it to make friends that you keep and you can play with again? And they have a whole system that you can play a match with somebody, and in the summary screen afterward, add friend. And then you can play with them. They've got working VoIP that works great. The 3-person team, even if it's only 2 of you who are working together and 1 person's off, which happens a lot actually if you're just playing with pubs, random people, it just works really well. So all of that I like. The world is really cool. I think they've got a graveyard. They got various bits.
Gorgeous.
It looks quite good. My only disappointment is when you climb the big tower, there's jack shit up there. There's nothing up there. There's nothing. There's not even a potted plant in the middle with a little thank you card. Thank you for climbing the tower. Nothing. It's just a flat texture. What the hell?
We were finding actually that the graveyard is the best place to go. They tend to have gold weapons in the church, so there's a little tip there. But yeah, it was just so much fun. I think the thing is with you were saying about making friends as well. If you're in the lobby area, which is before a match and all the players are in there, you can go up to any player and fist bump them, and they'll become a friend as well and add to your list.
Okay.
It's a really great little mechanic for making friends in the game as well.
Have you seen many people already wear fancy stuff that they bought, or are you not really seeing the effects?
It's not open right now, is it? I think microtransactions isn't open yet, is it?
I haven't seen
The only
any.
thing is the unlockables, right?
Yeah, I've just seen normal unlockables, and we were rolling as a group of the very basic skin, so people would underestimate us as a team, and then we're just completely annihilated.
That's funny. That's funny.
That is totally getting into the meta that Viper loves. He loves that stuff. He's no, guys, we gotta just deskin.
He's all about the psychology of it.
The psychology is exactly it. Exactly.
Mess with them. Mess with their heads.
Mess with their heads. The one thing I would say, I really like Solaris, but I just, it's that group dynamic of teaming up with friends and, like you say, making it easy that they've missed so badly. And I think that's why Solaris is struggling right now, and Population 1 is just doing so well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still find Solaris a very fun game, and I've still played it this week actually on the Quest 2. I find it one of those games where indeed I like to play with the people there, which doesn't happen a lot. I haven't had that yet with Population 1. The only thing I'm a little bit annoyed with Population 1 is that there's a team of 3, while I have a feeling a team of 4 would suit better and these kind of things, since usually I don't know.
I like when they mix that up.
It kind of feels that.
I really like when they do 3 or 5, because all games are 4, boring.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
completely right.
The nice thing with 3 is it's actually quite easy to get a friend and even a random person, and then you're 2/3 of the team that you're playing with. So
I'm just angry because I wanted to join yesterday as well, and I couldn't because there were only 3 places available.
I think solo could be really fun as well.
Yeah, solo would be really cool to watch as well, I think, more importantly.
Why don't they have that? I don't get it. It's called Population 1. Where's the solos?
It will come eventually. But like I say, hopefully the game will evolve and just get better over time.
I know why.
Also, I don't like the scope phase.
Go on.
It's
because you don't have someone who can say, "Oh, nice outfit," or "Ooh, cool gun." That's why.
Your stream can if they're watching it.
Yeah, but think of the average player, right? And what's going to motivate you to buy the new T-shirt or whatever?
Listen. Well, you know what could be a thing they could be pulling off later down the road? Maybe I'm predicting it here, but they have a lobby. You can see everyone in there, so you can already see what people have, and that works in their favor because people will buy more stuff. They're like, hey, how did you get this? Oh, I bought it from, this. But what they could also do is people can open up their stuff in the lobby, so people can watch people open their stuff.
That's
or
very
buy
smart.
their stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be
This
so.
is what Call of Duty did with the World War II game, where
Evil.
they used the Normandy beach and there were like care packages coming down, and you were like, "Oh, I'm the poor man, and I need to."
That's
watch
a little
other
bit what
people's
I'm
stuff."
scared of, though. Like people always say, like, oh, cosmetic transactions, they're not that bad, but very often you see that the entire game is going to be built around that major stream of income, and that's what I'm a little bit scared of. That population one, like we're all saying, oh, there's room for improvement, and we want the game to become better, we want more maps and this kind of stuff. But if they're making a lot of money from these cosmetic transactions, then those microtransactions, then it would make sense from a developer point of view to like focus their resources on that more than on the actual gameplay. And that's what I'm a little bit scared for, and that's why I keep on saying, like, I don't think that adding microtransactions is a good thing for the general game.
Well, if they can keep a nice balance between having new content, that is actually good, because I've also seen games where microtransactions are the leading thing. They make a lot of great new outfits all the time and new things, but then you feel like the content itself, the game modes and everything, are just not really it, and it's more, as you said. So I hope they can just kind of keep that balance, because I'm interested. They have the base game now. How are they going to innovate? How are they going to keep people coming back? That's what I'm curious about.
I got one population, one question to Mike and his team of his motley crew who've been killing it. Are you as scared as I am of those resources and the walls and the building, like the Fortnite kids? Because that's terrifying to me.
So I haven't done it yet. Like, I haven't built any. Like, I've built some cover, but I haven't actually built a structure and climbed it and done any crazy stuff. I want to, though, because I think that's going to be really interesting later on, and that's what are going to make the difference between good players and amazing players.
Exactly.
So I do want to get that down, so I just need to get some more practice in. So we need to wrap up the show, and I can jump back.
Oh, okay.
All right, 5 minutes, everybody. 5 minute countdown. Here we go.
He sounds like the typical addicted, gamer now.
Yeah,
like,
I'm hooked.
Do you have a bottle next to your desk as well, so you don't have to go?
So I don't have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, just go. I don't even use a bottle. Just go on the floor.
But dog laps it up. It's fine.
He has also like a drinking helmet on his Quest. He made like a multiple.
This is such a great place to be in, though. This is exactly what I was saying with the opening of the podcast. Like the hype, the adrenaline, the emotion, and the friendships right now are all on full cylinder, and I absolutely love that, running its way into Christmas. I can see us kind of carrying for the next 3-4 months in that spirit, and thank God. Like, we have such good VR content to play right now, in my opinion.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, for sure. And more is coming, which is good. Which is good to hear. Yeah. So let's get into some news then, because we've got some bad news to start off this week. The first bit of news is about the official Oculus Quest 2 Elite strap and Elite battery strap, as it seems like a number of players have been having quality issues whereby the strap arms are actually breaking, like completely in half. This originally started as a couple of people posting on Reddit, and I thought, this is just people mistreating their kit. That was my initial reaction. I was like, I always see pictures of people breaking their controller rings and all this stuff. I'm like, what are you guys doing with this stuff? I've never broken a controller ring in my life. But then these posts started becoming more and more frequent, more and people talking about it. And in the end, I think Zim gave me a link, and it was end up like over 30 different posts, like from different people showing broken Elite straps.
It's scary. It is an absolute fearful thing to see. And you go, oh my God, this is a serious defect. This is like a problem out there.
Definitely a problem. And it seems that like the cracks start to form on the strap's arm. So if you've got an Elite strap or an Elite battery strap, just go and inspect your head strap, like completely, like the arms. And if there's any issues, then contact Oculus support, get a refund or a replacement. They're well aware of the issue. But it is disappointing, especially if you've sunk over $100 on like the Elite battery strap, which I know is hard to come by nowadays. But you could only buy that strap as a bundle with the case, and it was like $120, I think it was. So quite expensive. So very disappointing if that's breaking on you within the first couple of weeks of use.
So it's wearing out, and then the plastic starts to crack on the sides, and then it becomes bigger and bigger. Is that what we're talking about? Because I think one thing that I noticed when I got it, I was like, if I, like with the dial on the back, go too hard on it and put too much pressure on it in general, it's gonna snap somewhere. That's the only thing.
It's fun. I think I think the thing is, when you take it out, and when I first mounted it, I thought this is actually quite firm plastic. And one of the problems is, and from what I've seen from the fractures, this isn't plastic deformation. It's not like if you take plastic and you bend it beyond its point of elasticity and it won't come back and reform. It's not that. This is actually a stress fracture, from what I can tell.
More brittle. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. They've made it quite hard to make it robust, but because of where, in particular, they've got a mold pattern on the back, it's causing an area just like what they had with the original rings. Where it's a point of weakness. And so like you said, Nathan, when you over stress it from the back and the tension pulls it, it pulls at that weak point, and basically it fractures straight down. It's almost like a straight cut for most of the breaks that we're seeing.
So are we maybe going to see them changing up the design?
Well, this is the thing, because they've actually removed both the Elite strap and the Elite battery strap from sale on the official store, so that they're both unavailable now. So whether it means that they're going to go back and change the material, maybe like a different plastic, or maybe they're going to completely redesign, I have no idea.
So having done several courses on design for manufacture, which include metals, plastics, and stuff like that, normally if you have a stress fracture like this, it's relatively easy to design out. The trouble is you're going to have die-cast like models that are used for pouring and forming this, and they have to be redone, which is not an inexpensive process from either time or money. But once they retool, they should be back, producing in high volume again. But I would say if you've got one, just be gentle. Don't over tighten right now.
Yeah, I checked mine today actually completely, and there isn't any issues with mine. So I'm lucky, I guess. And it could just be like a small pool of people, in the grand scheme of things, that are having this defect. But it'll be interesting to see the response from Oculus in the long term.
There's an interesting thing that you can do with plastic is if you shine, I think it's ultraviolet light on it, you can actually see those stress points in the striation of the plastic. It's something that, again, if you're interested to kind of check it out, if anyone out there is a real tinkerer, you can actually apply, for instance, you take a Tupperware container, I don't know if that's an American term, a plastic bowl or something, and as you apply pressure to the bowl, you can start to see the pressure spots in the plastic. I'll bet you the same thing would work here, and it'd be interesting to see if someone does that under UV light to basically show the problem in the design.
Honestly, based on that they pulled it off the stores, if you bought one and it's still in your warranty, send it back and wait it out, because otherwise you keep it and then your warranty is out or whatever, and then it's like, oh, broken. Like here in Europe, you have warranty for 2 years. If Oculus wants it or not, we have 2 years warranty. Those are the rules. But in the US, there is something where it's like 30 days or so, and then it's like if you're then, I don't know, but just keep it inside your warranty. And then send it away, and then wait until they have it. Like, I want the new one. I don't want to have this one now where there's a risk of it breaking. Yeah. So,
the interesting thing that I've seen,
because I'm considering like buying one as well, but I'm like kind of like waiting it out.
It's expensive. Just saying.
Until I know for sure, or if there's maybe a third, because this would be an ideal moment for a third party to step up and say like, hey. We got this over here. It might actually be better.
They won't wait long. And my opinion on this is like the Elite strap is a very comfortable strap. But I love seeing what I'm seeing on Reddit. Like a third of these comment posts where they're saying, "Oh, my strap broke." They're like, "I went back to the original strap, and actually, you know what? I'm fine with it." And that's kind of the kind of natural feeling that I'm getting from people is like the Elite strap's a nice upgrade. It is expensive, and because it's got this problem. If you're on the fence at all, just stick with the original.
I would rather sellotape the Elite strap broken to my face than go back to the material one to pop my head like a watermelon.
Again, the problem I have with the strap are these things on there.
Yeah, the pods.
They like just they hurt my head when I because I like to have the headset quite tight on my face, so you need to tighten these things up. But if you have that sitting on your head for like a good hour or something, that's gonna leave a serious dent in there,
I think your head is just too deformed. Sorry.
You've got hair. You've got a cushion there, Rowdy. That's right. So you've got nothing to complain about.
That's the other thing with the Elite strap is it's very head shape specific. There's people who are saying it's uncomfortable because of where they seat it. I'm lucky. It'll sit perfectly. It cups me nicely. I think Mike's the same, but.
Well,
Yeah.
my
You
head is
exactly
like the
said, like-
perfect shape of an egg, so like it cups it so beautifully at the back.
that's true.
You
That's
know
why I
how
love it so
annoying
much.
it is to
An
adjust
actual
this strap when you have hair, because my hair keeps on getting every time I like
I
put it
know.
on, like try to tighten it, like
This
my
is
hair
why I
gets
wanna
like
be
Shave it
like-
off, Rowdy. Shave it off.
This is why I
You
want
look like a real
Or
man.
just like make like 2 patches here that are like empty.
Just get a beard.
No, seriously, like putting the original Go on a girl was easy because it was ponytail through the middle, right? This current one is not that, and if you've got long hair, what happens is it's like this layer of slip, and so the headset just wants to like pop off. So for those cases, I think the Elite Strap is particularly useful.
I don't know why Zim can handle the soft strap, because to me it feels like being a melon with these like elastic
bands.
strings around it,
Yeah.
and then it explodes. That's how my hand feels.
This is the thing. I think the secret is like the CV1. Remember the CV1 when you first put it on after the DK2? You're like, this feels like concrete against my face. Why is it so firm? It hurts. You had to leave the CV1 quite loose for it to be in its like right operating state. And I apply the same thing to the Go Strap. I think you have to leave it quite loose, not like
You hear
Rowdy
that,
likes
Mike?
it.
Just become one with the concrete. It's all gonna be fine. But
Never.
seriously, you know,
Never going back.
both with your wallets. $50 and $129 is the other one, right?
Something
That's,
like that, yeah.
that's a lot of money. So send it back and wait, because I mean this is just crap. I don't want to buy crap for $50.
So I've got an alternative for you though,
Oh,
that I'm going to share with you.
How
so
much?
if you,
How much is it?
This is $20, although you do need a
Ooh.
Vive Deluxe audio strap. So if you, I would say this personally, my advice would be that if you've already invested in a Vive Deluxe audio strap with the Quest 1, then you can buy these adapters or 3D print them yourselves so you can use it on your Quest 2.
Okay.
But I do think the Vive Deluxe audio strap is way overpriced, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend buying one just for the Quest 2 unless you're
It's
really,
like-
really like
How much is
Hey,
the?
I'm
I'm selling one. It's like £100 actually, British.
£150, I think.
But at
even
least
more.
it doesn't break in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the audio does kind of suck for what you're paying
Well, at least
for.
you get audio.
This is such a crazy podcast.
I don't know. I don't particularly like it.
Still, $100 is a lot of money.
I will show you it. I'll show you it. I'll
Take it
switch the
like- we're
camera-
taking like
so
a group.
I'll switch the camera feed so you can see
right,
this.
yeah, yeah.
This is
Oh, he's
a
going
new feature
tricky.
on the show. Oh, check this
Ooh,
out.
unboxing.
Oh,
Kaboom.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is the new sort of FrankenQuest.
That looks
2
really nice.
adapters.
Just remember
Yeah.
the bottom third is getting cut off, Mike. So
This could have been like a
Oh, okay.
legit
Top
design
two-thirds.
from
There you go.
Oculus.
There you go. So it's kind of in the middle there. So this is the Elite strap. This is the one that's cracking for everyone, but I don't have any issues with that on mine.
I just see a little.
But this is the Vive Deluxe audio strap with some nice little 3D printed adapters.
heavy
like I
sides,
said,
huh? Heavy
There is a
sides.
design on Thingiverse. It's not this design, but it's free, obviously, if you've got a 3D printer. This one is available from a company. It's got a really funny name. It's called Business Company VR. That's their name.
Business
Or not.
company.
It's like
VR.
the temporary name, I hope.
It's actually when I asked them about it, they said that it was a play, like to kind of take the mick a little bit. I don't know. I don't know why. But
That's
yeah, Business
funny.
Company VR. They make these 3D printed adapters, which they sell for $20. So if you've already got a Vive Deluxe audio strap lying around,
This
you
looks
can buy
nice.
this kit.
This looks
It
really
comes in
nice.
black or white and 2 different variants. You've got the one with the smooth sides, which enclose the Vive Deluxe audio strap, or they've got one which is, let me check.
Of course, he's
Yeah,
got
which
it
is
standing
the-
here.
It's got like the little mounts, like the little pop-on mounts.
You know what this reminds me of? There's a 3D mod. Yeah, you got pop-on mounts. Oh yeah.
Or the ones that enclose. So you've got the choice of 2 different mounts, depending on which one you prefer.
I saw a really interesting cover on Reddit. Someone 3D printed the helmets from Boneworks, like that kind of weird, almost Tron-looking headset that you could mount onto the Quest. for
I saw that,
And
yeah.
those kind of remind me of that kind of a fitting. Are they quite lightweight? They look like kind of thickly printed.
Yeah, super lightweight. They're really light plastic. So if you're interested, I've chucked a link in the description down below. Yeah, it's like weird company name, Business Company VR, but they make these 3D printed mounts. So if you don't have access to your own printer and you're in the US, you can order them. If you're in the UK, you're better off checking out like Etsy or trying to find someone locally to 3D print some for you instead.
It doesn't look bad at all. Like on the first Quest, I thought it was really ugly. But on this one with the white, combination, I think it's great.
Looks kind of nice.
I'm
Yeah.
sure Oculus is like,
Oh.
dang it, we tried to prevent people from modding the Quest 2, and now people are doing it again. But I mean, it's their own fault. And I think it's awesome to see it. Also, we do need to realize that even if it didn't crack, you don't get speakers with the Elite straps. So on this one, you can just attach.
They
them in a
definitely
nice
missed a
way.
trick there, making a nice audio solution in
Yeah,
one.
but they want to be
for sure.
slick. They want to be slick. No outside things, and before you know it, there's gonna be like the Valve Index, speakers on there, and it's like, wow, amazing. Like I would totally buy.
Oh, I can't wait for that mod. The one thing I was going to say, just in terms of Quest tech, because Mike's showing off his gear, one of the things that was kind of occurred to me the last week and a half was the battery life, and this surprised me, even on Oculus Link, like the Quest 2 charge will die even if you're connected to a PC. After a certain amount of time.
Very, very slowly, though. Very slowly.
It's slowly, but you still only will get maybe 5 hours or something like that out. I need to do a full run test, but I did a 3.5 hour straight stream where I was at 77% at the end of that, doing Pop 1, with a battery in my pocket and a line going from the top to the bottom. So depending on the, I think, wattage of your battery, you can kind of prop it up almost enough, right? But so far, I haven't found a solution that keeps the Quest 100% while you're playing.
Not 100%, but I was running down to 7% when I was playing with GT on the Quest 2, just playing Pop 1 natively on Quest 2, and then I used the link cable connected to my PC to keep it topped up, and I played for like another hour.
And what cable were you using? You were using
the official link cable. Yeah. So I don't know if it's dependent on the rating of your like port on your PC as well. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Certainly, I was impressed that I could go even longer.
If someone is going to sell a strap where you have a built-in battery that is like super OP and then have some great speakers in them, and then the design is just looking good, I'm totally buying it. I just want the full package, like right now it's annoying to be buying, well, you can't right now buy the strap from Oculus with the battery thing, because then you don't have the speakers. Like if someone just sells the whole thing and asks like $100 for that, or maybe even more, 150, I think people will be down.
FReality have an opportunity to do that, right? Because they've made batteries for Quest 1. They've made the VR ears. Just put it together with a nice little strap, and they've got like a winner on their hands there. Do it, RebuffReality.
Otherwise, we will happen.
Oh, we'll do it. We'll make an F.Reality strap.
I don't know, with one paper and some strings, but sure.
And some cardboard, chewing gum.
Real F.Reality business VR.
Labo, you can make your own. You can make your own strap.
Yeah. So that is sad news that the Oculus Elite straps are breaking. Hopefully they get it resolved pretty soon. Next bit of news, also some sad news. This is from friends of the show, VR Cover, who are also having problems with their Quest 2 products. And VR Cover, I thought it was really great because at the launch of Quest 2, they announced that they were becoming an official Oculus partner, like accessory partner, which is really great.
Ready, right?
Oculus Ready, yeah. So they were being sold from the official Oculus store in the US. And basically, if you're not familiar with VR Cover, they make like plastic replacement interfaces with Velcro teeth on them, and then you can just swap 2 pads over that come in the kit, like a thick one and a thin one. And I've been using VR Cover products for years. I absolutely love their products. I use them on every single headset I own. I love them to bits, and I've been using them on the Quest 2, and I've been having a great time with it and sort of recommending it as well. But it seems that, again, some people have been buying them, reporting back on Reddit that they've had some problems with it. And apparently this guy posted a picture, it looked horrendous, of like the dye from the foam had like kind of like leaked onto his face. It looked like he had gone around like 10 rounds in a boxing ring with someone.
It looked hilarious.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow, I've never seen anything like that before. And I don't know if it's just because like I don't sweat very much in VR or what it is, but I certainly have not experienced this with VR Cover products ever before.
Any VR cover,
Well, like you, I'm in the same place. I mean, I'll show you in a second. It's embarrassing how many covers I've got. But like you, I've found the covers to be across a very long history, let's say 85% to my satisfaction. I think the only things that I've ever found wrong with VR Cover is when they've had cloth noses that were not elastically held in place and they kind of pressed back on your nose, and they've removed that in some of their designs. And early on, the way they kept the VR Cover, and this is like going back to 2017, maybe even 2016, the way they kept the cover on the headset, like the original, what was it, DK2 and CV1, wasn't enough. So it would like come out and block the lenses or drop down and get in front of the sensor and stuff like that. So the recent builds have all been fantastic. They really know their materials technology.
Yeah, 100%. And this is why I was so surprised about this. But, again, these have been recalled from the official Oculus website. Wow, Zim showing his selection there. That is legit. That is awesome. If you're not seeing this live, you're missing out.
Is this hanging in your closet usually?
Yeah.
It's like this is only half
Which
of
one
them.
am I going to wear today?
And then
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You should have a necklace and put them all around your neck. It's like that. What was that movie where he was collecting ears? That reminds me of that for some reason.
It's like a tribal hunter, collecting heads.
Anyway, it's like Predator or something. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, getting way off course here. But basically, so someone posted this on Reddit. It appears other people are having issues as well. So again, this product has also been removed from the official store, so no longer available through the official store. And it's a shame because VR Cover were gearing up to launch these to be sold on their official website, and they were literally just a couple of days out, and then they've had to postpone the whole thing. They've actually addressed it and sort of given a little statement, so I thought I'd read this out. We were ready for launch, but there have been reports of some foams having issues with color fastness and some of the color coming off the foams. The color pigments we use have been tested for biocompatibility and are safe to use. If you experience the color coming off, you can simply wash it off with soap and water. So they're saying it's not like dangerous to your skin or anything like that, although still undesirable. We are now taking the necessary steps to ensure the color fastness will be consistent throughout all the foams we produce and ship in the coming weeks. Only a small fraction of foams are affected. If you have already ordered from Oculus and have this issue with our facial interface replacement set for Oculus Quest 2, please contact us at team@vrcover.com and we will replace your foam. Again, we are truly sorry about this and are working overtime to get flawless products to you as quickly as possible.
I was kind of expecting the statement to end with, we also hired 3 very sweaty dudes to be testing our VR cover products in the future. Yeah. But it didn't say that. Yeah, shame.
No. So yeah, it is a shame because like I say, I think their products are always great. It's a shame that some people are having a not particularly great time with it, but they're a bit like Oculus. They're doing the right thing, taking the product off the shelf, making it right, and then they're going to come back with their product soon.
The other thing is
a pretty good run so far.
Well, yeah. The other thing I was going to say, just about the about the necessity of add-on covers, whether you get it from VR Cover or somebody else. I've had situations where, and you'll know if you've encountered one of the VR sweaty types, because they like just water comes out of every pore in their body. You put them in the headset, you get the headset back, you go, right? But beyond this, I've had a couple of cases now where people have actually short-circuited their device by sweating so heavily in it in like a Beat Saber session, and electrically fried their unit as a result. So I really see it as important, not just for hygiene or comfort, which is probably the main reason for me. It's comfort more than anything else, because I do find the Quest 2 foam to be a little bit irritating. But having another cover on there can also protect you from that, almost like a membrane. It's almost like having a bed cover or something.
Although I don't think, the only headsets that ever got killed were the Vive and the Vive Pro, I think. I've never heard anyone kill a Quest with their sweat or the Valve Index or
CV1.
anything.
Yeah, CV1.
CV1?
Yeah, CV1. I've got pictures of it fried from a close friend. So
definitely heard people frying Vives, but I haven't heard of anyone frying a Quest yet through sweat.
What about a
3D head?
That one would just break instantly.
They do look pretty nasty though, because you even get the salt line. The salt line, like if you sweat in, you can see the salt line coming up around the Quest. Oh, it's nasty.
That's so gross.
Yeah.
Sadly, the dye on the foams for the latest VR cover kits are coming off on people's faces. We haven't experienced that, but some people have reported that on Reddit. But VR Cover are addressing the issue by making some adjustments, and they'll be bringing out the products on their official website in the next couple of weeks.
Do you have any good news, or is VR dead by now? Because accessory-wise, VR is dead.
Well, I've got more bad news actually. Sorry.
Oh, you do? Okay. Everyone, don't panic. VR is dead according to Mike's news today. But
just with the first 2 products, with the Elite Strap and with the VR covers, it is only a few people experience these problems, but if you're having the issues, contact support on both both manufacturers, and they'll get it fixed for you. Next bit of bad news. God, it is bad news.
Bad news.
It's for PSVR owners, and that is because the Beat Saber multiplayer update has been delayed. Even further for them. So we all got the Beat Saber update last week on Steam, Quest, and Rift, but PSVR owners were a bit upset. They were kind of left out.
Everything nowadays, since Facebook took it over, is always delayed on PlayStation.
Are you trying to suggest it's intentional?
Yeah, what are you trying to say, Nathy? What are you trying to say
Trying to spill the tea over there?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well, the Beat Saber team tweeted out this week. They said, "Dear PSVR players, I feel like we need some like sad music in the background, and black and white and raining.
Yeah.
Dear, just imagine that if you're an audio listener.
You do it in a sad way.
Okay. Dear PSVR players, we're so sorry that multiplayer is still not available for PS4. Bringing multiplayer to PS4 is a priority for us, but development is taking much longer than we expected. We're trying to deliver multiplayer in January if everything goes to plan. We will keep working on multiplayer for PS4 as fast as possible, along with exciting new music content on the way. Thank you to everyone for your ongoing understanding, support, and patience with this. We really appreciate it."
Condolences, Sony.
Yeah.
Yours truly.
Suspicious.
Sad news.
I don't know. I think have you guys been playing much Beat Saber multiplayer since it landed? I know you had that
So I
one
played with my
session.
brother and my
VR?
dad.
Well,
Yeah.
John Carmack has. Like, he's not even working anymore. He's playing Beat Saber all day.
But yeah, January kind of sucks. Like it's still like a few months away, especially as everyone else is enjoying it. So it's disappointing.
I kind of feel like it's one of those things, though, that like the PlayStation environment, that ecosystem is probably as distant from the PC VR and Quest, ecosystems that it can be. So those players tend to be a little bit isolated. I particularly liked.
It's been a bit quiet around there.
It's been very quiet. I was just about to say. So Anthony from VR365 mentioned, and I found a really interesting thing. I was going to save it for releases, but this dovetails nicely here. The European PSVR store is either today down for maintenance or has been taken down because the only store that's available right now shows all the like heavy hitter titles, but you can no longer search by release date and all that kind of stuff. So between the two,
Interesting.
Yeah, Anthony mentioning and kind of having a bit of a rant on there not being enough PSVR games in the last 90 days. And that bit, it's got me kind of going, actually, there might be something to this. And I was kind of noticing a bit of a dry spell over the last 2 months as well.
We had all the, like, I don't know if it's like real now or not real, because we've had like conflicting reports with like the PlayStation 5, whether it's going to support VR or not, because there has been some picture servicing that it didn't like include the VR logo and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's like, it's a bit weird. Right.
Like, for how long do you want them to still make games for a system that is now kind of old? With Iron Man VR, I think they ended it pretty well. So I don't know what people still expect. It came out in 2016. We're like 4 years in. I was already like expecting last year that they would kind of end with like all the content. So
you think
I'm not
that they would come with a
surprised.
new VR headset rather soon?
Of course, because otherwise, like, you can't. I don't know. Like, they could maybe. They could handle it to not make VR content for their old system, because the back catalog is still there, and it still works for people. So I don't think you necessarily need to keep making content until a new one arrives. Especially up what you like. Look at the library they made. It's insane.
It's fantastic. What I would like to see from them, how on PC VR releases, and like if I think back 10 years and I go to like a UK gaming store called Game, for example, they used to have these like classic boxes which would come out, and it's like, this is a classic game, and they re-release it. Does that exist now in the digital form, aside from a full remaster, which is like remastering the product, and aside from sales like a Steam sale or another platform? Do we have something where classics kind of really get to be resurfaced and enjoyed by people who don't know them?
Not really. It's rare.
Yeah.
It's rare.
It's so digital now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I also saw Anthony saying that PSVR is dead. I don't think it's dead at all.
No.
But it's still got Hitman coming as well, which is a huge title, right?
Plus, like,
It's
again, like, based on how many releases there are still coming or not, a headset isn't dead, So
no.
Yeah, maybe
it's
next
just
year
been, it's just been quiet.
Yeah, quiet.
around,
But I think that's their style as well. I'm not concerned about them making some awesome titles for the next one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this whole thing. I think PSVR is just it's maybe getting a little long in the tooth just the hardware. So I'd be really keen for them to drop new hardware next year. Hopefully
it's interesting. Just going back to Beat Saber multiplayer, I kind of went hard on it when I talked about it originally because it didn't have any voice chat. Like I was a bit disappointed it didn't have voice chat in the lobby, and you had to use like server codes to invite friends over. And I just thought, for an Oculus owned company, I thought it was a bit clunky.
Yeah.
But, having played with my dad and my brother using like just the party chat system, although I have to listen to them heavy breathing during the music, it is like, it does work. Do you know what I mean? Like you can set up a game that way, tell them the server code, they jump in, you can talk about what song you're going to play, but like you do have to listen to them breathe throughout the song, which is a bit disappointing.
I agree with you, Mike. I think they should have found like some better
it should have been better,
solution for
I
that.
think.
Especially considering, I mean, it's not like the small company anymore that launched Beat Saber in the beginning, right?
And don't forget about the avatars. Like you throw some Roblox avatars in there that don't fit the style of your game at all.
Yeah.
It's so cheap. I've never seen so many cheap avatars in one virtual space before.
Yeah.
Like imagine if they used the ones from venues. You'd be like, wow, now we're getting there. So like again, the social push of Facebook in terms of I don't see it. I don't see it on the Quest.
Yeah. But one thing I noticed was that if you play with 3 players, like in 3 players in total, you're really far away. You can barely see them, like they're in the distance.
Yeah.
But if you just play with another person, it's almost like they're opposite you on the left slightly. And they're actually much closer up, and it's way better actually.
That's the thing. I've only done like 4s and 5s. I've not done like 2 or 3 people, and
just do it one-on-one. It's way
really
better.
Unsatisfying actually. I mean, I don't compared to something like I'm forgetting the name now. The one with the spinny orbs.
Airtone.
Not it. God, no. God, not Airtone.
Synth Riders.
Synth Riders. Thank you, Mike. Synth Riders does great multiplayer. Like you talk to each other in the lobby, you set up, you don't hear them breathing during, but you can optionally, with push to talk, communicate during the multiplayer. So Synth Riders is like 6 months ahead. The fancy avatar system, like I feel like they bit off more than they could chew on trying to design this thing, and what's resulting is actually underwhelming. And like I share Nathan's thoughts on this. I'm not happy with the avatar system. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I imagine multiplayer on Beat Saber just different. I don't think this is it necessarily.
I agree.
I think also Beat games, of course, they got taken over by Facebook. So Facebook made this game mode. If you look at it technically, and I think they were the ones who said like, oh, let's make Beat Saber multiplayer, and they had an idea of how that should look like and how that should work. Well, I'm sure that the Beat Games team had an idea themselves too on how to do it, but I don't know, like multiplayer, like I was hoping first of all that there would have been a mode where you would be able to play together and just
like co-op,
have like two like different color blocks coming at you, and then having to work together and have like this innovative new way of partying up, and then maybe also competing with each other. I don't know. I feel like it's all a little bit cheap, and
or like with
their hands.
With the original Tetris, when you had like a Tetris or something, that it would go to the other one, stuff like that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is. I've been playing a lot of Tetris Effect lately, and other kinds of Tetris, and that kind of block sharing, any kind of lane swap, any kind of non-Euclidean interaction. Like they could have done so many smart things with this, and I just feel like they kind of gave us an underwhelming version of something that other equivalent games have already done better. Yeah.
So just like 11 says in Stranger Things, don't be a mouth breather. That's all I'll end that one on.
Nice quote.
But you can play using the party system. So that is Beat Saber delayed, coming to PSVR hopefully in January, if it doesn't get delayed again, of course. Last bit of news, let's kind of round it up with maybe some scary games, some suggestions from us as a team about what maybe you should be playing during the Halloween season if you want to be scared. And
if you want to be scared.
Yeah, if you want to be scared in VR, then here's some great games. Does anyone want to go first? Any volunteers?
Not too scared.
Feel free to obviously share your suggestions in the chat as well if you want to share some of your favorite scary games that you've maybe played in the past.
I'll go first. That's fine.
Okay, go on.
So the game I'm going to talk about is actually getting an update this week. It's Affected the Manor, and this is a game that we probably all played at some point. I played recently, and I couldn't believe how different it was. Like, the game has matured. Unlike Dreadhalls, which has basically stayed the same game for a very long time. Affected was like totally different pathing, different enemies, different objects. This is a game that is getting an update specifically for the Quest 2, which makes me really excited for it, for real lighting. And there's a mode where all you have is a candle. And as you're walking through the corridors and that's all the light you get. But it's got real lighting now, real-time update in shadows. The original Quest doesn't get that, but this one does. And it looks really cool. They've launched a cool trailer. I'd recommend people check it out. I'm running it, but look at the full thing for the full effect. So Affected has 3 main modes. There's I'll call it the story mode, which can last you maybe in excess of an hour and a half, which is the main run. And then you've got these additional modes like the Gauntlet, which I find really interesting, and this new update called the Darkness. So that's the one with the candle. The Gauntlet is something I've never seen done before. It's a procedural hallway with pathing and lots of littered with jump scares, and you have to, almost as like a carnival contestant, run the gauntlet. So you run the gauntlet, and it listens to you, and it scores you based on how much you scream. And I've done this a couple of times.
Serious?
Yeah. So
Wow.
you leg it down this gauntlet. There's furniture falling in your place. There's little baby dolls jumping at you. There's windows breaking.
Babies.
There's furniture flying around. And then you get to the end, and it's like you have to get there as fast as you can in the straightest path, and then you get scored globally or whatever, and you get your score for how much you screamed and how quickly you finished the level. That's called the Gauntlet. And so if you're looking for replayability, the thing with VR games, particularly horror games, is they tend to be kind of a one and done affair. This one, you've got the main story, which actually has some procedural elements. The hallways and stuff will change, and I've found that to be dramatic enough that it is interesting for replayable sake. You've got the Gauntlet, and now this new mode, which is the Darkness update, which it looks awesome, because the candlelight thing and stuff that you can't see is one of the worst parts of VR horror. The only thing that I'm going to call out, because I've been doing lots of VR horror lately, people are saying to me, but isn't the Quest 2, I've been hearing that because it's an LCD panel, the blacks are terrible and it's horrible for VR horror immersion. I totally disagree. I have been sweating buckets, screaming, shuddering, all of that stuff. For me personally, I didn't actually like the original Quest panel. It was like too murky or something. But this one is absolutely fine. I don't notice it as a problem. So maybe you guys register the grays thing as a problem. For me personally, it's totally fine. And this is one of those games, affected the manner, that I think you should try and scare your family with.
Dude, like babies in VR, baby dolls are like so scary.
So scary.
Like I think in what is it, Ghost Town Mine Ride?
Ghost Town Mine Ride.
It's like that one title where you're like.
The funny thing is, I just saw it pop up in chat because it was almost my.
Oh,
my
someone
suggestion.
actually mentioned it too. Wow.
But
they're like babies.
Saying, I'm still a fan of Ghost Town Mine Ride and Shooting Gallery.
That game is like jam-packed with like jump scares, but they're like babies.
Did it have babies in it though, Nathan? I don't remember babies
like,
in that.
Hey, you, or something like that. And then you go to this, and then it grabs your face, and it's like really scary.
Oh god.
No.
But it's like a funny horror title, right?
Funny,
it's
yeah.
Not, I mean, there are jump scares in there, but it's not like you. There's so many in there that you kind of like grow immune to.
This is
it
not that wasn't my highlight though, but that's definitely a classic.
Yeah, well, you just reminded me there are like Rush of Blood, which is another classic one. Kind of funny, but at the same time.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Go on then, Nathan. What's your horror recommendation then for Halloween?
So I want to do Bugsnax.
FNAF on Quest.
Five Nights at Freddy's, yeah, sure.
Water bears? Yeah.
Water bears. Anything else?
Sorry, go on.
Halo Recruit, maybe. That's scary.
That is scary.
Yeah, I know. No, it's Edge of Nowhere. It came out in 2016. Was a title for the Oculus Rift CV1, so we're talking PC VR here.
One of the
Prior
first
to
ones
motion
did, like,
controllers
third
as well.
person, right?
Third person. Yeah, after Chronos, it was like one of the first VR third-person titles.
So you're the camera, and this little person is in front of you walking around. It's really cool because you get a sense of depth that you usually don't get when you're, of course, in first person. It's very unique. So Edge of Nowhere takes place in Antarctica, and you're looking for your fiance, and she was on an expedition with some other people. And you hear this radio call, and you need to follow that radio call into, let's say, the deep, dark corners of the ice. And then you go deeper and deeper, and you go a little bit insane, and you see things that aren't there, and then you see things that are. It's a crazy title, and you would think that if you play third person, then that it would be less scary because the little guy is the one that gets attacked, for example. But it isn't, because in your corners of your eyes there are still things popping up and stuff. I just wanted to highlight it because I think that Oculus has done a bad job at promoting older titles that were amazing, that didn't have much lifetime at all. I feel like. Well,
Like
this
Arctica
one,
1.
yeah, also,
That was a
or
really good
Wilson's
one,
Hired, another one. You know, those are not getting promoted anymore. Of course, they're PC VR, so you know, if you want to play it on a Quest, you do need to have a PC in some way. But yeah, this one is great. I think third person is an estimated genre in the VR scene, one that I
Definitely.
still like a lot. And this one has a great story to it. I don't know how long it was. I think it was like maybe 8 hours or so.
Oh
Was it
no,
2 hours?
I think it was about
2
2.
hours?
It was pretty quick.
I remember it being like super long, but I don't know.
Yeah, Chronos was super long, which was the other one, but
Oh yeah, that one was.
that's
really
40
long. Okay.
hours as a game, which is insane. I never actually beat it, but yeah, I think it was about 2 hours, 2.5. But it feels like a Tomb Raider or Nathan Drake type adventure.
Yeah,
and
no, true.
I've not seen. I don't think I've seen the Antarctica kind of landscape presented as well as in Edge of Nowhere.
I wonder
really
if
is cool.
Oculus doesn't promote these titles because they're not compatible with Link. Maybe they haven't been Link enabled. Because that was a dev option. Not every dev activated it, so maybe that's why. I don't know, but maybe that's just a guess.
So according to the internet, it's around 4 hours long. Something else I should say is it's made by Insomniac, and I think this was their first VR title or their second? Was Chronos first? I don't know, but I was a big fan of this one for sure.
Yeah. And this was before Move controllers came out, like touch controllers came out. So
Xbox
you had to use
controller.
an Xbox controller.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can use the Move controllers now, or the touch controllers, sorry.
If it ever has ever been updated, but
Yeah,
it's just a shame. Like this game has just a nice style to it.
Yeah.
It has a good story. So like I'm the one here that is bringing it back to life, basically.
Nice.
So yeah, if you like third-person horror, this is it.
What about you then, Rowdy? What's your
Nate already
suggestion?
briefly mentioned it, but my highlight would be Wilson's Heart, another old but gold title, I think. And I don't think there's any other virtual reality game really like it. That's mainly the reason why I chose it. It is a horror game, but it's a very different kind of horror game. Even if you play PC horror games, I mean, there are probably things like that on the PC market, but it feels like a very different kind of style of horror. It is scary. Don't get me wrong. It's like it's more like I would say like you're in a psychological thriller movie.
Yeah.
Like one of the old style, like the Dracula or the Frankenstein movies. Like if you're a little bit of like a movie fanatic, then I think that you will really enjoy this kind of game. And it has a murderous teddy bear, which I think is also a big plus.
Yeah.
In there.
Horrible.
And it's one of those games that, and like I said it already, like, you know, I almost reiterate myself like every podcast, but it's one of those games that where I think that, you know, they use the motion controllers again so well. Like I remember in the beginning of the scene when you have, you know, that thing coming out of your head, and you need to pull it out by looking at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I think those kind of things, I wish we saw it in more virtual reality games, because that is like using VR to the max, and doing that kind of stuff just makes it so much better. I really like that game. I haven't finished it. It's roughly about 5 hours long in total. I haven't finished it fully, but it's so well done, and the atmosphere of it is just so gritty. It's fully black and white, so it really lives up to that atmosphere of like, you know, being absolutely scared to death. I really enjoyed that game. If there is a horror game that I have to recommend, it would definitely be that one.
It's
Nice.
like, you're right. Like it's jam packed with interactions that you don't see nowadays. It's so weird. Well, this one was one of the, you know, like when it came out, I was like, wow, this is like unique.
And the nice thing is like the graphics that they use will probably still hold now, because it uses that noir, a little bit like cartoony style of like graphics. So I really like that.
Rounded low poly as well. I finished the game. Is very
Same.
unsettling.
Yeah.
It's very unsettling is what I'd say. I feel like it's a bit like Lies Beneath, which is another closer, more recent title, which is like you almost feel like you're in a graphic novel or a comic book. You're right. It's like a noir piece of cinema. But for me, it was kind of less like horror and more like emotional drain. Like there are a few horror elements, but my God, it was sucking the life out of me while I was playing it.
But that's really well done, though. If you can achieve that as a game developer, I think that's
you know what it feels like? Throughout the whole thing, it feels like 2020.
But again, this comes back to like, I feel like back in those days they were more carefully writing the story and then building a game on it, and just kind of taking their time to make something, that is really taking you, down the rabbit hole. Something that I should say about this title, I don't know if they ever fixed it, but this was kind of in the era of like, we wanted more room scale. This was one of the last games, like, why do I need to teleport to the next? That necessarily isn't bad. I think if you play this, you're still gonna have a great time, because it pays off. It's just that it was constantly telling me like, oh, you need to look forward, because you had like the sensors, and Oculus was focusing on the people with just 2 cameras. It's like, just talking about all these games so far, it's like, why are you not just kind of making them ready for Oculus Link, also controller wise, because I'm sure that tutorials are all going to show the old controllers.
That point you make though, Nathan, I think a lot of people who are new to VR, who maybe just picked up a Quest 2, won't know that back in the day when it was Oculus with the Rift and then HTC with the Vive, that actually Oculus had banked on as their first pitch, which is shocking to people now, 180-degree tracking, not 360. Yeah. So you would set 2 cameras or 1 camera on a desk, have your CV1 on, and be playing. But like the PlayStation VR, if you turn around, certain things would not work well. So they did have these reminders in games.
They maybe updated the game afterwards.
I doubt it.
They barely updated anything. Like, also, as Mike said, Arctica 1 and all those great titles we know from 2016, they have not been updated. If you jump into them now, you just see the old controllers and all the old mechanics that are not really.
And some of them just are broken and don't actually function. If you don't have, that's the other thing. Some of them haven't been updated. That's the sad thing, particularly things on Steam that used to support like CV1 not being able to work on more modern headsets. So that's kind of sad.
Do you think they could port Wilson's Heart over to Quest?
Yes,
they probably could pull it off. I think
Quest 2, yes.
Yeah.
Edge of Nowhere as well. I think.
If they can bring a game like Population 1 to there, they should be able to do that as well.
It's not gonna do it anymore.
Yeah, I think so. The thing is, I just want everything. It's like bring everything over, and I'm sure devs want it too, because it's buckets of money.
It already.
I think it's also great for people who are still learning to get into VR, because it's all just standing and it's not room scale. That's also one thing I should say, because if you were leaning forward, then it started to dip to black. That was also one of those classic things that you got. But I think if you're new to VR...
But they played with it very well, though, because I remember that one scene where you need to, you need to get closer and closer to a certain thing up until you can finally pull it back. They did some really cool
showing you things up front
interactions with that game.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice solid recommendation there. Yeah. So my recommendation would be Face Your Fears 2. And this is probably more specific to me because I hate spiders. Like, I absolutely detest spiders in VR. And they did spiders in VR, super well, to my detriment. And I remember being on the show floor at OC5, I think, with Zim. And he was like, you need to play this Face Your Fears. They've made a sequel of Face Your Fears 2, because I played the original Face Your Fears, which is only available on Oculus Go, which is a shame because it was a series of small little experiences that you could try. You could be in a plane crash. You could have spiders crawling over your face, which was horrendous. And then they basically put some of these fears together in a kind of story driven campaign in Face Your Fears 2, which some people didn't like, but I personally really liked it. And it kind of strung a lot of these fears together. So you'd have spiders being buried alive, you'd have rats, tentacles underwater, and all sorts of crazy stuff. Yeah. But it was the spiders that particularly got me.
Is that the one where you're in the basement?
They did it in a shed. The basement one was in the original Face Your Fears.
That was the original.
Yeah. No, that was the original Face Your Fears.
So they have brought in, this is the thing, Mike, there is actually an updated version, which you would hate. So because the first game had all those bite-sized elements, they've brought in about 6 of those into Face Your Fears 2. I don't know if you've done them.
The original ones.
They didn't bring the original ones in. They've got new ones, and they've actually got VR elements in them now. So you've got
I know what you mean. They're in the game, though. So you actually experience those throughout the 2 stories, and you can pick them from the beginning and play them out straight away without having to play the single-player campaign.
Is there one where you're climbing up out of a tomb?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And is there one with a tentacle?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you. I got so disinterested in the primary game that I just played the bite-sized ones.
Yeah, because what you're saying, Mike, like you can play a very long, kind of scary thing, but you can also go for a shorter version that is more targeted towards people that you want to show the quest to.
Exactly, but they would do like some really clever things. Like you would pick up a key, for example, and you'd look at the key and you'd turn your hand, and there'd be a spider crawling on your virtual hand, and you would instinct would kick in that you just want to launch that controller like the other side of your room. And it's that kind of like natural instinct that I got playing that.
And the audio, like the spatial audio, where it's like you feel something, you see something crawling, and then you can also hear it going behind you, and then you start feeling it in real life, right?
It's horrible. Yeah. So like, if you hate spiders but you want to scare yourself, Face Your Fears 2, I think, does the best spiders in VR.
Paradise Decay says that Mike has not really experienced a horror game with spiders. He should see them in Propagation VR, which is very good and free at Steam.
I'm not playing the game. That's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but like in the garden with the creepy crawlies. I've seen clips of that. I don't want to play that game.
No. Yeah, there's another one that was really good that you just reminded me of called Attack of the Bugs, which...
Oh yeah, I played that one as well.
Yeah, you were creeped out of this one, I think, and I was as well, because I'm not a fan of spiders and bees. Like those are the things that for me, I run out of this room screaming. It's a very unmanly thing, but it's true. But that was one where you basically have like pesticides and stuff, and you have these little like toy soldiers and stuff coming at you.
I played that game. Yeah, it's horrible.
So weird. Like that's
a wave-based spider shooter. Right?
It's a wave-based spider shooter, but it's got mechanics of like a toy soldier sim in VR, and the spiders like leap at you and stuff. It's not comfortable. Yeah.
I was getting mixed up actually. Propagation VR is the wave shooter that looks very good. It's got very good graphics and it's free on Steam.
Yeah.
It's got a big spider in it. That's why I haven't played it yet.
That's why.
It's weird. Like everything we mentioned, like I feel like the last few years in terms of Halloween with releases, the games are kind of mediocre, and it's usually shovelware that comes out.
Yeah.
There are a few, but usually they're not in VR. So I don't know.
We've got a good one in Zim's releases later on. So stay tuned for that.
Don't worry. Yeah, actually, to be honest, and I'll just to jump to the chase a little bit, there aren't that many shovelware items. I've seen one or two in Steam, but in terms of Oculus Quest, Oculus Home in general, we're not seeing the flood we've seen in the last 2 years.
No, but that's because PC VR has kind of dropped in interest, and developers can't just they can get on SideQuest, but I think half of them don't even know. No, I would love to see more. I would, for example, love to see. I think they did that on PC, Friday the 13th. You had like this multiplayer game where you had like 4 people having to hide from the slasher, from the killer, and they had to just hide under the bed and stuff. It was like kind of this hide and seek game that you could play online. And the other one is, I think this was from a YouTuber from Syndicate. They made this horror game together. I don't know what the name was, but you could just scare your friends being dressed as a ghost. So you had this house, and you could just wait in a closet and then just scare them and then disappear again and just go somewhere else, back around with everyone. So I would love to see some multiplayer horror stuff that would really be fun to play together.
One suggestion that I saw a couple of times in the chat, which we should mention because it is epic, and that is Alien Isolation. Obviously, it was never designed to be played in VR. Well, it kind of was, but then they kind of cancelled it. But then a mod came out, and you can play Alien Isolation in VR, and if you've got the patience to get it set up, I think it's pretty easy to set up, though, to be honest. Then go and give it a go, because being hunted by that xenomorph and then hiding in lockers, and you can't scream or breathe because it can pick up your microphone and it will know where you are.
It's horrible.
Like that's just
like
terrible.
But to be honest, actually, there's a few here like Saints and Sinners. The use of the in-game microphone. The developers commented that that's not working on Quest at the moment. Because when it does, and they can hear your breathing and they can kind of attract to you, that's pretty good. From Other Suns is also another good one.
From Other Suns. Yeah.
But the one that we really are missing, and I'm sure chat is, of course, they're screaming at us like, phasmophobia, right? Because this is what the whole internet's been on about. So we have the lovely time of tomorrow. We're gonna go ghost hunting as a team. We're all very excited for this, by the way.
Very excited.
And Half-Life Alyx is technically also a horror game, especially the part where all the funny headcrabs are, you know? The hotel. True. What is the hotel called again? Northern Star?
North Star.
Oh God. Well, let's
flashbacks. PTSD
from
the North Star.
Definitely.
Yeah. So there's some horror experiences you can check out. Like Zim mentioned, we're going to be streaming Phasmophobia. Yeah.
Phasmophobia.
Tomorrow. So go and check out Zim's stream for that. It's going to be fun. Let's get into a hot topic though, because this is kind of interesting. This is new hardware, which is always exciting, I think, to talk about new hardware. And this is an interesting new headset called the Deca Gear 1. And it's from a company in Singapore called Megadodo Simulation Games. So if that name alone doesn't inspire confidence, then
Master Business Company VR.
We've got some crackers.
Oh, wait,
yeah.
are those the ones who also made the Dodo Island game?
I don't believe so. No.
They weren't. They weren't. No.
Okay.
But that's the company name, Megadodo Simulation Games. They're making this headset.
Okay.
So this was announced this week, surprise announcement, kind of like took everyone by surprise.
Yeah.
And it's a PC-based headset, so it's not standalone. So just bear that in mind. Not competition for the Quest, but it might be competition for some other PC VR headsets. Fully compatible with Steam VR. The headset uses 4 inside-out tracking cameras that are based on the front sort of corners of the headset. It features a 2160 by 2160 resolution per eye display, which is kind of comparable with what HP are offering with the HP Reverb G2, which is nice. Runs at 90 hertz. We don't know really about field of view. They haven't mentioned that, so I'm just assuming that it's running at the standard sort of like 110 degrees field of view. But what's interesting about this headset is that it's kind of built and designed specifically with multiplayer VR experiences in mind. So this is kind of interesting.
How?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So it features facial tracking using 2 infrared cameras, one located in between the lenses and one just above your mouth. And this is to track your eyes, eye movement, and mouth. And they call this technology face flow. That's kind of what they're calling it. So not only are your eyes tracked, but also your eyelids, your eyebrows, your upper nose, your forehead, mouth, lips, cheeks, and even your tongue, which is going to be very interesting in social experiences like VR chat they can support the SDK, because you need to implement the SDK for this functionality to work.
And
for tongue tracking,
good as well. The way they do it, like
Looks
if you see the
pretty
video, like it looks. I mean, it's not perfect since I believe they track like 50 muscles, and your face has like a lot of muscles that in order to use to get impression. But it's like a next kind of level that they show in order to get some basic impressions of and you have tongue tracking, very important.
So this is a consumer headset.
Consumer headset, yeah,
with face tracking.
With face tracking,
that would be the first.
And tongue tracking and forehead tracking and eye tracking.
Yeah, because the HP Omnicept edition is mainly aimed at business.
Yeah, that's also
consumers can buy it, but it's aimed at business.
And also that would be the first one then.
So it would be the first aimed at consumers, I guess. Yeah, you're right. Okay. They've also got some interesting other bits and pieces, and let me dive into this a little bit. They've also got a sensor which is included in the bundle called a Deca Move, and this attaches to your hip, right? So it's a little puck, like it's almost like a Vive tracker that attaches to your hip. And this is what they state. I don't really get this that much. Maybe you guys will understand it better than I did. But they state that this is so players' move direction would be based on their hip and where the hip is facing to provide a natural movement control and continuous locomotion, freeing players' hands to focus on interaction and the head to spectate around for risks and opportunities.
Oh, that's super.
I think that's a brilliant idea.
That's brilliant.
Like, I really do. Because I did a really short video on like explaining, the kind of course that they went from, like, trying to develop a movement solution for virtual reality, because there is not a really perfect motion solution. You either have head tracking or you have hand tracking in virtual reality.
Yeah.
The problem with head tracking is that you will always run to where you're aiming at, basically. Yeah, for let's take the example of a first-person shooter. But from an ideal point of view, you kind of want to run into a certain direction and shoot in a different direction, maybe.
You want to strafe, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or you want to shoot backwards or whatever, but you can't do that with head tracking, because you will always be running into the direction that you're looking at, therefore also the direction that you're shooting. So games like Onward or Pavlov, they have something called hand tracking, where you push like a controller forward, and then in the direction of where your hand is, you will move forward or backwards or whatever it is. The problem with that is if you use 2 hands with trying to aim or stuff, sometimes you will not always be able to move in a certain direction. So ideally, you would have to decouple movements from hand tracking as well, since it's it's kind of the next step. But if you think of it, like your body is always kind of like aimed in the direction that you're running, unless you're, for example, strafing, but that's a different kind of movement. So you can easily do that with a controller. So if you can disconnect that and connect it to, for example, the hip movement, you basically can just push a button or use the controller in order to move in the direction that your hip is facing. And I think that's a really, really good solution in order to, especially for like first-person shooters, and especially if you're playing competitively, that you have a full decoupling of the forward movement from your hands and from your head.
I think it's ingenious. It's the first time I've heard of hip tracking, and instantly when you described it, Mike, brain just clicked. That would be so useful. The only question then is, would it be available platform level and be supported ubiquitously across the applications? Because if it's going to be an API related to that hardware or require development time, this not going to happen. You know what I mean?
This headset is far ahead of its time. As we just said, it's the first one that has all of these features. The rest of the headsets are not doing that yet. They're kind of,
a lot of the features that they're listing are kind of like the features that I was like expecting in like the Quest 2 of like, being the next generation. But I mean, I don't know if it's true, of course, we have to see this. And it's always a bit like, I'm not going to say suspicious, but it's always a bit like weird when you see this small company come out of nowhere. Except for when it happens,
especially with the Mega Photo game title.
Yeah, but I do like a lot of the things that they're saying and promising and doing.
Yeah, but it's interesting the way you described it. Kind of made it click in my mind. I didn't really kind of get where they were going with it, but you explained it very well, Rowdy. So thank you very much.
They
for
did
that.
it with the Valve pucks. You remember those Vive pucks? They did that as well, where you could attach them to different parts of your body, and then hip tracking was one of those things as well. And several games implemented it, and I believe even that. Was it Pavlov or Onward that supported like that? Because I saw in the list of the new virtual reality headset you mentioned that they listed Pavlov in there as well, and I was wondering that they listed Pavlov in there because it's
already
supported something similar like that. Don't quote me on that since I'm not sure of that, but I think so.
I guess this will then also come with its own software, must be. And this company, what is their track record in terms of what they did before?
Well, this is the thing, no one knows. No one knows this company's track record.
It's like if they made software or games or maybe tech before, then it would make sense. But I've never heard of this company before.
No.
And even if I did, then I with that name. Sorry, but the name is very strange.
It's very strange and off-putting.
They don't mention that name anywhere. That name comes from LinkedIn. Obviously, they don't put that on the website.
Yeah,
but that's,
I looked it up.
And
that's correct. That is the name. Because I looked it up too, and I saw that the guy is originally from Israel. He is in Thailand right now, according to LinkedIn, and the company, as you said, is from Singapore.
Yeah.
And there were no other employees I could find. He's the only one.
There are other employees listed on the website, which you can also find on LinkedIn.
Okay.
But they don't have any bios or any information about any of the employees right now.
Well, this is one of those moments where, of course, right now conferences are hard. I don't think CES in January is going to happen with how the pandemic is going. But it's going to be interesting to see if he can finally demo it. If it's really that good, and if it's really I'm open for something. This sounds again like experimental. This is kind of like how Pimax started, I guess.
Exactly.
Where they also had to start from scratch, and people I don't know if this is going to be any good. But I'm totally open because the thing is, PC VR isn't having that much activity, and if this is really paving the way, cool. But I feel like I don't know, an average consumer, I don't even know if they would be able to afford something like this.
I think Pimax is the perfect analogy, though, because this is exactly where they're standing as a company.
Vibes,
apparently, 10-person team, starting off with some pretty strong, unique selling points for a new headset. I don't particularly like the aesthetic of the headset. The kind of look and design of it looks a little bit like a space mask or something. You like it, Rowdy?
I love it. I love the look of it. It looks like some kind of space
stormtrooper.
It looks epic.
So
I might even wear it on the streets.
In the car while driving.
I want to get into the controllers a little bit because they're quite unique, and I've also got the price as well, because I think the price is really interesting, and I think that's where I think you'll be surprised about the price, because the controllers look like a cross between the Oculus Touch controllers and the Index controllers, in that it has like an inverted tracking ring for the inside-out tracking, but it also has like a grip which tracks individual finger movements, and also has a strap that runs across the back of your hand, a bit like the Index controller, so it's kind of fixed to your hand. So I think that's kind of interesting. They've kind of merged both designs, which is kind of smart because, it's kind of picked the best of both.
To me, it looks a bit. Go ahead. To me, it looks a bit like they've looked at a lot of the pain points of like the other headsets and the strong points, and they kind of merged everything together and then added some features that I think are very promising. I'm going to be honest, like I'm very excited about if they can deliver on this kind of product. I think that would change the market in general. I'm far more excited about this than just the extension in field of view that Pimax was promising. And I also feel like the way that they have marketed this and the way that their website looks, that they're kind of like aimed at a market that is feeling a bit more professional as well. So I don't really agree with the full analogy of the, it's a little bit the Pimax feeling, although I do get where it comes from. But I do feel that there's like a certain level of professionalism implemented straight from the get-go.
But like Pimax, that like instantly sounds negative. But when Pimax started off, like this experimental thing was, everyone was very open to that, and they have been trying some new things, and some things worked very well and some things didn't. So I'm just saying that it's nice to see a company who is making something again for the VR enthusiast, who wants something experimental, wants something that is maybe not ready for the future just yet, but you can buy it and get your hands on it.
I think Pimax really scrambled. I think Pimax really scrambled because they kind of overcommitted on what they were going to deliver and then underperformed in the eyes of the consumer. And when you're a smaller company looking to do well, you need to focus on a product and deliver it. And they ended up going into this tailspin of let's make 10 different variants of the headset, which is not helpful, actually. They should have just doubled down and fixated on one decent build, and then marketing that build, making sure that's fully supported, great software stack, easy user documentation, and then they would have found themselves, at very least, a niche of people who loved that headset. They still have that, but I think that these guys, the only thing I have against the Deca Gear 1 is perhaps the fact that they've got a logo that, to me, it just seems to steal from the Index. Like, it looks like they just lifted the Index logo and dropped a line out of it. And I would like to see them differentiate themselves. I don't care if it's a pirate head or a kitten, but pick a different logo. Like, don't just pick off of one that's already existing.
Well, the thing is, they could go for two strategies here. They could go or for what Pimax did, where they have something that might not be ready yet, and they just hype people up, try to gather an audience, try to build up a community, and when they're then feeling it, they're gonna throw it on Kickstarter or somewhere else, and based on that money, based on the investments, they're gonna build it.
Price point as well.
Yeah, but they're gonna build it, or they already have something and they don't need that. That's what I'm wondering. If it's the second, then I feel a little bit more like attracted to this headset where they already have something.
So how much is this thing? How much is this thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So the official website states that you can lock in your pre-order today by just dropping.
You can pre-order.
So you can secure a pre-order. So you got to pre-order a pre-order basically by dropping $10. Yeah. So you pay $10 and that secures your place in the queue to buy one.
This is what I'm saying. This is kind of weird.
Yeah. Everything about this is weird. The first batches will be shipping in May 2021, and the whole kit will cost $449 US.
That's not possible.
So that's headset, tracking, hip tracking puck, and controllers, and that's like obviously a Steam VR compatible headset, PC VR. Wait, there's more. They're also going to be selling a battery module for the headset to allow it to be played wirelessly with Steam VR for up to 6 hours for just $49.
Wait, how's the wireless transmission catered for? How does that work?
Apparently it's already got Wi-Fi built into it, or the Wi-Fi module is built into this battery somehow.
Then they're driving off of an Android device and they're doing it over Wi-Fi.
Price-wise, this doesn't make any sense at all.
It doesn't make any sense.
You can't tell me that you can buy that stuff for that price.
I don't know. I don't think that a lot of the technology that they're using is technology that already exists. Like it's The reason why Facebook can drive the cost so much down is because they don't have to do R&D. The technology that is into an Oculus Quest isn't spectacularly new technology. It's the software that makes it so expensive often. But Facebook, being the billion-dollar companies, can reduce that price. If they somehow can leverage that technology into and use their own hardware, then I don't think the hardware cost would be so high.
So believe it or not, we're not the only ones that were skeptical about this. They've got.
I don't like the thing is I don't want to be skeptical though. I don't want to be.
I think it's wise to be right now.
I have to in this case.
They've got an official Discord, and there's been a lot of people jumping in there asking questions, and someone did ask a very good question, and they shared the screenshot which I could talk about. So this is from O'Daniel from the official Discord, and he asked this question, which is a really good question. I think we're all asking this in our heads. Is there anything you can say as to the validity of the claims being made on your website? As far as the VR community is concerned, you guys came a bit out of nowhere, and your claims, coupled with the $449 price tag for the first batch, make some people question how feasible this is, including claims of scams. Disclosure, I made such a claim myself on Twitter last night. No accusations, just curious. I did reserve a unit for myself.
Okay.
And one of the developers, one of the team from Deca did respond. This is from Asuna. I understand your concerns. We have come from nowhere. That's because of Deca's modest approach over the past 3 years. Deca team has been focusing on the development of this product instead of building fancy presentations for investors and VC. It has all been funded from early stage investments that originated from private funds. It has been a long journey with a tremendous amount of R&D has been going into this. There are many moving parts in such a product. Nothing is new or groundbreaking. It's just a consolidation of talents that come together. Deca will be sharing here some videos to make you all more intimately familiar with the team, get a closer look into R&D process of a product such as this. We will cover many aspects of the development, such as AI model development, product design, prototyping with 3D printing, PCB weddings, lenses, controllers, and some of their components, such as pressure sensors. You will get to decide for yourself if it looks legitimate enough or not. Things are going to be progressing, and we are moving in the right direction.
I think that's a great response. And that's the thing I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't really have the Pimax feeling here, because it feels like it is being handled in a way that critics like to see this handled. Like I myself, I also want to be. I'm still skeptical of it. I'm not saying that it's going to be this great headset and we're going to all be playing that in May 2021. I don't think that time frame is realistic at all at this point, but. I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt, merely based on the technology that they've shown, the video presentations that they've made. I am very curious if they can pull this off. I don't think that it's impossible, because again, like I said, like the technology that is in there is not surprisingly new or is something groundbreaking. And they even said it themselves. It's more like consolidation of the technology brought together. And I think that's a really great strategy to go from.
But would you also throw in $10 right now?
No, of course not.
Because that's the thing. That's the thing. Because
$10.
If a lot of people throw $10 in it, then they again vote with their wallets. I would say, once again, like I'm saying this all the time, don't pre-order. Wait until this thing is on a conference or something, and people tried it. So Road to VR, Upload VR, maybe some of us too. Like I'm very interested in trying it. But the thing is, as long as it hasn't been shown to the public and people have tried it, that we know within the VR industry, don't throw your $10 in, because then you're getting into a whole new that's
I completely agree with that. The only thing I'm saying is saying that it's not possible is just not correct, because I do think that this kind of headset could be delivered
for that price.
For that price point, I do think so.
Cheaper build quality. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I just don't know if they'll be able to pull that off in the time frame that they suggest. But I do think it's possible.
I think that because we keep talking about Pimax as well, I think Pimax did make it harder for them to pull this off, because the thing is, there has been a trust issue within the community since Pimax came around. Let's say Pimax was never there and this came out, we would have all been like, oh, here's my $10, here, take my $10. But now we have learned from what happened before, and that's why we're kind of
The thing we really need to know is, did Mike pre-order? Because then we definitely hold on.
No, I didn't.
$10, Mike, just $10.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to put your credit card details in the website. And this company, like I've never, like you say, we've never heard of this company before. Do you really trust them with your credit card details, like giving them your PIN number on the back?
Well,
if it was PayPal, I would have done. If it was PayPal, I would have done it because I can claim that back.
There's so many people who are gonna do that. They are gonna do that.
Yeah.
Because there's always, like, I've seen it with Pimax too. There is a group of VR enthusiasts who spend a lot of money on all these accessories and all these things they get, and they keep on buying and buying and buying. I think that's the group this is for, you know?
Yeah.
For the people who have like VR headsets as a hobby and want to just kind of be the engineer of their own headset and be like, oh, I'm gonna add this, I'm gonna add that. I don't know if this doesn't sound like a consumer product right now, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe it will.
Chat has a good solution to this. Do you want to do a pre-order? And I'd agree with it, which is if you take either a prepaid card or a virtual card from a credit card company instead, so you're not exposing your primary account number and details.
Yeah, but
that's an option.
You shouldn't throw in $10 at all. Just don't.
If you're skeptical enough to go out and have to find a virtual card, then you know the answer already.
And just make sure you get a burner phone at the same time. Get a burner phone, get your prepaid card, right? A nice long leather jacket to conceal.
Put a tinfoil hat on.
Fake ID. Yeah. I know a guy who can do all of that.
No,
I want mine to be McLovin.
I just want to know if anyone in chat now went to the website and put the $10 down before we said don't do it. Because if it was me listening to new hardware and going, oh, there's an open pre-order, does anyone else feel the same way where it's like you hear about new equipment and you immediately want to be first in the queue?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I wonder if someone did that in chat. If you did, fess up. We won't laugh, I promise.
And if it was from like a company like Asus or something like that, then I would have done it in a heartbeat because it's like a reputable company that we know, or Asus or whatever you want to pronounce it. But Mega Dodo Games, I've never heard of them in my life, so I don't trust them with my credit card details. Of course not. But
the biggest problem I still have with it is, we have already all this amazing technology available right now, and half of it is not being used. We have Oculus Touch controllers, we have finger tracking in the knuckle controllers. How many games can you count on your two hands that fully use the maximum amount of those
that's against software as well. Like if someone actually invests into the software instead of just the headset.
But hang on, aside from the software, I agree the software is probably the part here that is Oculus's biggest lead. The XR2 chip, as we said when we first demoed it, is opening a door with a lot on board on die that people can tap into. So I would expect in 2021, forgetting the 2020 interruptions that we've had, more competitors, small, kind of odd, unique selling point features in the product to be popping up in unique offerings from companies we've never heard of. I am fully expecting that in the next 9 months, we're going to see more like this. It's just funny seeing it on this side of the year because I like you guys, I probably wasn't expecting to see this. It came out of the blue. And so you're immediately kind of suspicious. But I bet you there's going to be more cousins to this thing. And we're probably going to be talking about, between now and next summer, probably 20 different new headsets that someone's making.
All PC VR, by the way, or are we going to see some standalone action too?
I hope standalone action as well.
HTC is apparently going to announce another headset. So who knows? Vive Focus 2? Who knows?
But we should all remember as well. Like I know we're being critical because we don't know this company, but we should all remember that we didn't know Oculus when they first started the Kickstarter campaign back in the day. We didn't know. We all just chucked our money blindly at the screens.
Yeah, true. That's true. That's true.
I saw Carmack put his thumb up, and then I was in. That's
it. That's true. Actually, that's true. Gabe was there and Carmack was there. True.
The landscape has changed where things like that don't work like that anymore because there have been examples out there of headsets that are amazing. So as I said before, if we can try it and see how good it is, sure, I'm happy to
the internet has a very short memory, Nathy. Very short.
I know. Like we always get hyped over headsets that haven't even been shown yet.
I think we've always been fairly critical. I think we're critical now as well, but I like I said before, I do think it's possible. I don't think it's impossible with the suggesting that, and I think the price point is also realistic, especially in this market. If you don't have a price point like that,
that's true.
You can forget about the consumer market.
What do you guys think of there's an image that shows kind of the case, the controllers and all that. Looks kind of sleek to me. What do you guys?
No, I like the design. Looks good.
Yeah, I thought that the design looks good. The only thing that I didn't like was the mask. The mask kind of
I
reminds
thought
me
more
of a
the
ski mask.
The head strap was kind of like back to the Vive days, you know.
Back to the
where-
5 days again, yeah.
So I don't know how heavy it's gonna be, but
what do you think of the name? Because Gear VR was already a thing, and now this is the Deca Gear 1, right? Like so.
Deca Gear 1. It's a cool name. Sounds very much like what was it? What's that anime?
For some reason, Cowboy Bebop is in my head, and that's not what you mean.
But like Watto says in the chat, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
It probably is.
So I
But I
think
don't
if
think
they
it sounds
can
too
prove
good to be
themselves, then yeah, I'm happy to be wrong.
Yeah.
But very skeptical right now.
Yeah, of
Sounds
course.
interesting though.
So when do we think that we will be able to try something like this? As I said, I was referring to CES. Maybe CES is still going to happen with like I don't know, Corona rules that are going to make it safe for everyone. But it's going to be hard for new hardware manufacturers to show off their products because VR, especially with this stuff, these people need to be at some kind of conference or somewhere for the press to try it. Or they send them out. Maybe they can send them out to some people. But
So people did say it was Sword Art Online. That's exactly what I was
Sword
referencing
Art
to,
Online.
and they call their stuff Nerve Gear. So that's why I thought it was.
Oh,
similar.
Nerve Gear. Yeah. So, I mean, they're saying that it's going to be available and launching Q1 next year? That's crazy.
Yeah. So if you pay your $10, you can reserve your spot in the queue, get the early pre-orders May 2021. If you don't do it now, then they're going to be pushed back to like July and then October, I believe, the next batches. So
they're okay. That's when they're gonna deliver.
Yeah.
May next year.
Very early.
Okay. Okay.
There we go.
There we go. That is the Deca Gear 1. Interesting tech that we're all a little bit skeptical about.
Well, it's nice that there's some activity in the VR, like PC VR scene. I haven't seen much exciting stuff. I mean, G2, of course, but besides HP, I was like, well, PC VR.
But
I don't know
even
what's
that's
gonna
seen
happen.
like big delays. They're not shipping until like
Well, they just need
next
to
month.
print. They need to print them out faster.
HP.
That's also, of course, because of the entire pandemic situation. I
Sure,
guess.
of course. But I'm just saying, like they're a big, established, well-respected company.
So it's in Singapore because when I first saw this, like of course right now with the corona it's kind of hard to. But I'm honestly like if they watch this next year, I would love to fly to Singapore and give it a try and you show me how good it is. Seriously.
There's Nathan's pitch for a plane ticket.
Show me how deep the rabbit hole goes. Yeah. So there you go.
been out
Deca
there.
Gear 1. That is our main topic this week. But now it's time for the releases. I'm going to hand it over to Zim. Capable Zim with the releases. Always got something up his sleeve to surprise us with.
Trustworthy, Zim, capable Jim. Yeah, whatever it is. All right.
Jim Sock 5.
Thank you.
Jim
The amount of nicknames I've picked up since being on this bloody show.
Zim, you create your own name. You said back. No, who was it? Back. No, it was Mike. Back to you, Jim.
Jim.
Like,
Yeah.
it's Mike's
it was Mike's fault.
Mike's
That's a
I
good
kicked
point.
this
We
off.
got to put the blame in the right place. And let me tell you, Mike, tomorrow you will pay. All right. Oh, yeah. Can't wait. Phasmophobia. Heard so much about it. So, first up, I've got you a little bit of a wrapper. 4 titles here. First up, horror title. Well, kind of horror comedy. Hello Puppets. This is a re-release. So this is coming out on Steam. It was actually dropped for the Rift platform, 12th of December 2019. And for $18 or £14, Otherworld Interactive on the 22nd of October have landed essentially a puppet horror experience. This is very odd. If you liked games which took away your hands like Astrobot and Static on PSVR, well then let's go on a horror comedy adventure, which turns your hand into a living talking puppet named Scout. So years ago, a Sesame Street knockoff called Mortimer's Handyman was canceled and forgotten. And they have plans for you. Your only chance of escape is a somewhat less evil Scout, which is this little hand puppet that you have on your hand, which looks like a great way to jump scare you anytime they want to. So there's rich lore scattered throughout this world. You've got this weird puppet on your hand, and they're telling a dark and horrifying comic story. It's got challenging puzzles and pop-out scares to keep you on your toes. I'm curious. I missed this one because I think December last year was kind of a busy time. Did any of you guys play this? Did this sneak by?
No,
It
but I
looks
have
cool,
seen it. I've seen it, and I think like the whole puppet like gameplay mechanic in there. I think it's awesome. I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks good. It looks good.
It looks weird in a cool way.
Yeah.
It looks weird. Yeah.
And the voiceovers, I know we can't play the audio on the video, but the voiceovers are creepy. Like they're creepy. You know, like if you have a puppet talking to you, it's just it's like how am I supposed to trust this thing that's on my hand? You know what I mean? Like how do I have any faith that this thing isn't going to become my worst nightmare? And I suspect it will at some stage, but I haven't played the game. So that's Hello Puppets, which sounds a bit terrifying. If you're looking for something with a little sprinkling of comedy, maybe that's for you. So again, that's on now the Steam platform, whereas it was before on Rift. Next game. All right, who's a fan of Max Payne here? Anybody else? Anyone like Max Payne?
Love Max Payne.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
Max Payne on the show right here.
All right,
I
very
look like
good.
Max Payne in Max Payne 3 anyway.
You do. Mike is very much our on-podcast Max Payne. Well, if you like guns, great. We've got a game coming out called Hard Bullet. For $20 and 16 pounds, Gexagorn VR launched this on the 22nd of October. And my comment on this would be, Boneworks had a baby, and it's pushing out a placenta-covered early access game. So, whilst being sticky, if you like blood and gore, then this physics sandbox shooter is probably for you. I see content creators maybe having fun with this one. So
How did he do the jump?
Yeah. I was like, how do you do that? in
I
VR?
do not know. But this is one fucking gore fest if I've seen it in games. Steam users are describing this, and it's mostly positive on the reviews actually for this early access title. So Hard Bullet is the people who've played it have described it as having like a solid base, needing larger levels, but feeling great to play, but currently is limited a bit by snap turning, that they don't have smooth turning yet in. As I said, this just launched 2 days ago. So the main features that I picked out of this are fast-paced action, slow motion and tricks with the slow motion, again, akin to Max Payne, body damage like dismemberment, bullet holes, and blood fountains. Oh, hell yeah. And a final note for the parents, the developers describe the content like this. This game may contain content not appropriate for all ages.
Oh.
So before you go putting your kids in this, you might want to think twice. But yeah, Hard Bullet. It looks early access. It looks a little bit like Boneworks in terms of its physics. A lot of people have been impressed with the physics. It's a gore fest, so if you are looking to dismember somebody, maybe don't do it in real life. Do it in Hard Bullet instead.
Oh wow! So I just went to their website and they made a demo before of another game called Neurosa Primal Ritual, and there's spiders in there, Mike. So if you're looking for something even more, then
I'm pretty sure I've played a beta version of Hard Bullet, and I got frustrated because it wasn't compatible with the index controllers.
They actually have on their, was it a Kickstarter early access page that I saw, the first highlight talked about please visit the Steam VR controllers mapping option before you play the game. So that's probably right off of your feedback, Mike, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Don't go upsetting, Max Payne himself. Otherwise, he's going to come for you in a leather jacket.
I will have my revenge.
Mac Payne is coming for you.
Mike Payne.
Payne. Sounds like an American president that we need. All right. So next up, this game I have never heard of, and it's an Ubisoft title. This is really cool. So here we go. This actually is going to chip into something that Nathan said earlier. So this is Agos, a game of space, which sounds like a Game of Thrones. But anyway, a game of space. All right, this is coming 28th of October, so just a couple more days to wait. I don't have the price on this one, but this is an odd, like, off-kilter third-person perspective game. It's based in space. You get to discover space like never before. So it's an innovative and realistic physics-based game where you build and pilot space probes. So what do you do with these space probes? So you build them, you unlock new technologies, you harvest resources. That sounds kind of Elite Dangerous-y. You explore unique star systems, and you face the perils of space to maintain life on board your ship during this extraordinary journey to save humanity. Basically a bit like a couple of kind of Pixar and Disney films. Humanity's in trouble. You've jettisoned off to try and save the Earth by going off and finding our solution. And so you build this little space probe. It's a really interesting concept for a game. There is first person and third person perspective. Gave me almost like Homeworld vibes and other things like that. But I would just say that it sounds a little intriguing. You can explore abandoned space stations, fulfill quests, harvest rare resources, and trade. Sounds very much like a single player only game. And
sounded a bit like Star Shelter to me.
It does sound a bit like Star Shelter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks like Armageddon the game, but it's just missing Bruce Willis
So Ubisoft
digging into a meteor.
Ubisoft is the publisher here, I guess. Or
Ubisoft.
did they also make the game?
Yeah. Sorry, the only name I lifted was
Because,
Ubisoft. Yeah, they're
like,
probably the
like,
publisher. I probably missed the dev.
I've not heard about this.
I've not heard about this either.
I was like, after Space Junkies is gonna be a while before we see something VR. Although this seems to be a little indie title.
Well, I think it's an indie title that's been footed by them. I think you're absolutely right. I actually tilted my eyebrow when I was looking it up, and
What is another game called again where you have to build like rocket ships?
Build rocket
Kerbal Space Program.
Yeah. That one. That's what it reminds me of.
That's quite good. There's another
I
one.
I like this genre though. It's very where you can build your own and kind of explore space. I think it's cool.
love Star Shelter.
It's funny,
like that.
talking about space, my dad, who bought his Quest this week, one of the very first games that he decided to download and try was ISS Space Station.
BBC.
Mission.
Oh no!
I was like,
Shit.
dude, are you insane? He was like, it made me feel really weird. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
When you
I'm
step
not
out into
surprised.
space, and that is actually, even for me, that's a hard experience. But
It's a hard experience for anyone. Like,
If you
even
can
the hardest
survive
VR
that
veterans.
one, then you're like a real, true VR veteran. Because like if you play that, you will have no sense anymore of what is up, down anymore.
No.
Even if you stand on the floor, it feels like your whole house is turning around. And when you
immersion
get
is
out,
great.
that's
I was
where
like,
you feel it. Yeah.
Dad, they've got like rating system for a reason. Noob.
I love it. I think that's fantastic.
Bless
Did you
him.
call him a noob though? Did you really
I
do
did.
that?
Do you think, Mike, like based on what you're saying here, because on one side it's funny, on the other side, like people can get really sick and be like,
Oh, yeah.
this whole quest, and I never want to see it again. Do you think that the rating system should be more clear? Because I think the rating system is very well hidden.
I think almost like if you've put less than 50 hours into your account, that every time you click on an intense game, it should come up with a pop-up saying,
That's a
just
good
bear
one.
in mind this is a super intense game.
Yeah,
That's a good idea, actually. I like that inflow concept. So, okay. So far, Hello Puppets, Hard Bullet, Agos' Game of Space. Really odd run of games.
Yeah.
Let's finish it off with a wrapper for our lovely releases cheeseburger with Blair Witch, the Oculus Quest edition, which is launching. So, and it's funny because I only just watched Blair Witch for the first time about a month ago. So this is coming for Quest. Quest 2 gets some special features I'll talk about in a minute. It is a full price title, so it's $30 or £25 by Bloober Team, a name that is convincingly unmatched from the horror experience you're going to experience. 29th of October is when this one lands. And it's a brand new version of the Blair Witch story, built specifically for VR, and you get to have a canine companion as you move along. Reminded me immediately of Fallout, actually, of Fallout 4.
Dog meat.
Environments have been redesigned for more interactivity. So this was originally a PC game, not PC VR, I mean just a flannel PC game, and has been refined and tuned, upscaled for VR purposes. Your companion dog can be petted before the internet does ask me, and you can do fetching gestures and things like that. So you're interacting with your companion. And I think companions are something that VR doesn't do well enough yet. And I think we all should have our VR pet that greets us when we jump into VR. So this is coming specifically for Halloween, of course. The 29th is when it lands. And the Oculus 2 version, which I think is pretty interesting, has higher resolution, better quality textures, and that's made possible by the XR2 chip in the Quest 2.
So they improved it, because I thought that the PC version honestly looked a little bit rough.
A little bit rough.
Graphics, even if you weren't playing it in VR, it wasn't, looking most spectacular. But hey, that's nice that they're improving it for VR.
And as a little juicy bonus, you can download the PC version for free from the Epic Game Store from the 29th as well.
Yep.
Good point. Good
So you
point.
can practice a little bit.
Practice a little bit before you get in there with your
I don't know what
dog.
it means, but
The best part was, and this was the part that for me about the whole thing, was like, oh, you're going to go in the woods and it's going to be scary. It's like, oh, it's okay. You can bring Bullet. And it's like, oh, great, I get a gun. No, you get a dog named Bullet.
The dog's called Bullet.
The dog's called Bullet. So I thought that was a bit of a cheeky one, but I kind of imagined that plot line. I haven't played this yet. So looking forward to that. So that was Blair Witch. The other one was Hello Puppets. We told you earlier about a bunch of horror stuff. And again, to plug it, tomorrow we'll be playing Phasmophobia for the first time, the four of us. Bring a spare change of underwear, lads.
I keep on forgetting that we're playing it, and then you keep on reminding me, and then I have this like pang of like fear and like anxiety all of a sudden.
So just a little bit of a precursor to that show. So that's 7 p.m. UK tomorrow, about 2 o'clock Eastern time. Rowdy and I stepped in to just see if we can get the networking and stuff sorted. The one thing I'm going to say about that game is it does the kind of silent moments really well, just even in the tutorial. And I think even when there aren't things going on, I think we're all going to be a little bit frightened. So
are we streaming it here, or is it your channel?
My channel. I'll be streaming it. Yeah. I don't think we've ever done
streaming it
live this way, and that'll be
just to clear it out.
That'll be fun.
If I die because it's so scary, we're not having a podcast anymore. So
no. So you don't see us again. You know what happened.
Yes.
So that was our releases and an upcoming
stuck in a game
F.Reality event. So come get effed with F.Reality.
So that space game isn't on Quest, right?
The space game is not on Quest. That's
That's
PCVR.
a PC title.
Yeah, it's a PC title. And same as Hard Bullet. Hard Bullet is not a... So if you want to be jumping around your bedroom or whatever, well, maybe virtual desktop to
Diving.
it. Yeah. That's it. That's your releases for this week.
I'm looking forward to Blair Witch, actually. I like the idea of the dog. I like the idea of having a dog companion. That sounds like
the
fun.
only part that you'll like of the game.
Probably.
Horrible.
Probably.
Well, it's always better than being pregnant, and then walking around.
That's true. That's true. And having some evil baby. Yeah. That would be horrendous. Well, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an interesting show. Let me just quickly go over the show times again. If you've got any questions for us, maybe we could squeeze in one. But just a reminder, this is
really quickly.
Sure.
Since we had, I mentioned it to Zim before as well. Clocks will be turning back in the UK and in Europe, I believe, tonight. But in Northern America, it will be next Sunday.
So pay attention to the event times, right? Yeah. So my that's a good point. My 2 p.m. might be a 3 or a 1 p.m. for you. So just take a look at the event. It's already up. You can go and turn on notifications.
With all these time things, man. Why are we not just...
It's a week that we'll have a different time than usual.
Well,
if life wasn't complicated enough right now.
Yeah.
You could skip an hour.
So yeah, pay attention to the show times. And the show times, just a reminder, goes live. The show goes live at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, 12 midday in Central US. You can also go and check out the audio version, and you don't have to worry about show times. You can download it and listen to it at your pleasure after the fact, and that's available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed the show and you found it useful. Subscribe to the channel so you get notified of all our future streams. And yeah, we're going to be enjoying Phasmophobia tomorrow, so go and check out Zim's stream. It's going to be full of expletives and screaming, so if you enjoy that, you'll love it. We'll be back next week with another show. Maybe we can get some more guests on. If you've got any suggestions for guests, please let us know, because we're always up for some recommendations. But yeah, have a great week. Have a great Halloween. Enjoy some spooky VR games, and we'll see you all on the show next week. So until then, have a great week in VR. Take care, and bye-bye for now. See you later.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.